I don't know how long we can have a banner that says new merch available now. That the merch has been like, that's been the merch. That merch has been available for a while, but there is actually new merch that isn't on there. Anyway, let's just make this crap. Do. It's been a while. Here we go. Ooh. This beat is my jam. It is. The graphics are due for an update. I've undergone such a change, and I'm not on enough to be featured that many times. Looks like a different dude. Yeah, that graphic's gonna need an update. We're gonna have to do that. We're keeping the song though. I don't give a crap. Every now and then, most people like the song, but every now and then there'll be a person who's like, couldn't even watch the show because that intro music is so unbearable. And it's like, first of all, it's YouTube. You don't have to watch any part of the show you don't want to watch. We know that some number of you who won't even hear what I'm about to say because you do this, some number of you, when you watch this on replay, you just jump to where you start seeing call banners up. Like, we already know that's the case. And if you in 2025, the year of our Megazord, have not figured out how to skip forward past the music, may the Megazord have mercy on your soul, and on your sword. And on your sword. Yeah, I think so. Welcome, everybody. This is the Sunday Show. I'm Jimmy Snow, and with me today is John Gleason, and we are here with a challenge to you all. We don't much think there is a good reason to believe in God, but if you think there is, you can hear in front of thousands of people, probably. Usually we get up to about that, in front of an entire multitude, as Jesus liked to call them. You could prove us wrong. You could call in and you could prove to us that God exists and that there is a good reason to believe in God. Or you can call in and go, you know, I do believe God exists, but I'm not sure if my reasons would be considered good reasons. And we will happily have a polite back and forth where we go through what your reasoning is and what flaws we might see with that. If you would like to participate in such a way, and we hope you do, the phone number is on the screen. It is 720-619-2288. Those are for people in the Americas that can do to the US calling. Anybody who wants to call from an international location, you can also do so by using the web link in the description. However, if you are calling from the US, we do insist, I'm afraid, that you call in using that phone number. That is 720-619-2288. Call in and tell us why you believe in God and why we should believe in God. Those lines are open now, and we are ready to talk to you. John, how are you doing today?
Started out with some Borderlands 4, and we had to pause before we took on like one of those sub bosses in it or whatever, and now I'm here. So
apologies.
And I've got I had no no, that's fine. And I had some onion rings and hot wings right before this. So
good day.
really gonna tear up that beehole later.
I can't eat either of those things for fear of more than my butthole being eaten up. I can have lean chicken, which is literally like the whole reason why people like wings is that is not the part of the chicken that you are eating. It's the most delicious part with all the fat and stuff in it. The wing is just, I like dark meat. Anyway, but I couldn't have the hot sauce, and I explicitly cannot have onions at all. Onions mess up. Yeah. Or garlic, which is very frustrating because then when you go out and you want to buy something with like, it'll just say like spices on the side, or it's either spices or natural flavors. One of those can include onion or garlic, but it also might not, which is why it's so stupid that we don't require people to label what's actually in the food. There's a category that you can just say, because there are certain spices I technically can have, but there are ones that I explicitly cannot have, and I have no idea. And the worst part is they don't even have to disclose to you when you call them. For example, say I wanted a Costco chicken. If I call Costco, they can choose to be like, okay, here's the spices we use. But Costco is just like, it's just spices, guy. It comes in a bag. I don't know what to tell you. And so you end up just being like, all right, I don't get a Costco chicken. I don't get delicious $5 Costco chickens. And that's what my life is like. That's what my life is like. Anyway, people, we really do want to talk to you. Let's go ahead and get some stuff moving in the chat. And I will also probably post a little challenge out on Threads. First of all, if you haven't already, please do click like. Second of all, we rarely ever, besides in passing, say this, but it has come to our attention that it would be better for us if we have a larger subscriber number, because while we as a channel do perform like a channel who have many more subscribers than we do, I suspect it's because we have such a large breadth of topics that people might go, I like them, but I don't necessarily care about this show or this show. And we know which shows you're not caring about. But anyway, first of all, hitting subscribe on your end is going to change your algorithm for about 2 minutes before YouTube just goes back to sharing with you whatever. The subscription doesn't really count much. However, we actually would like a higher subscriber number because we are realizing that there are times where we reach out to people for a collaboration and all they do is check your sub number. They don't check the fact that we're doing 2 to 3 million views a month. They don't check that at all. They check what's the sub number. Okay. So right now I think we're sitting in the 185,000 range. So if you've watched to this point, go ahead and check if you have subscribed. And if you haven't, hit that subscribe button because you will unlock even better shows for the future as you increase our collaboration power and how impressive our numbers are. It's really gross that the line has so many people and is so great, but is under 200,000 subscribers. But my original like personal channel, Jimmy Snow, which we are now doing political live shows on, has over 350,000 subscribers. That's offensive and disgusting. And so go fix that, people. Not by unsubscribing over there, but by subscribing over here. That would be the way to do it. That would be ideal. We're at 183,785. So we're about 1,215 subscribers away from 185,000. We'd love to get over 200,000 with haste. Theists, we want to talk to you. That phone number is on the screen, 720-619-2288, 720-619-2288. You want to, while I make my little post on Threads, do you have any anything you would like to, any interactions with theists this week you'd like to mention?
You know, I've been doing some TikTok lives over there, and normally I go with you know, one of two topics, either you know, Jesus didn't exist, or I sort of attack some of these preconceptions that a lot of people have about specifically Christianity. And one of those is like how misogynistic it is. So something around that area is kind of where like a lot of people get upset, but I do find that it kind of highlights how little a lot of theists understand consent. And they have a real messed up sort of idea of consent, because they think like either a 14-year-old girl can consent to a deity, to being forcefully impregnated, or they think that God is super special and he's, you know, he should be exempted from like, you know, the Epstein characteristic that he seems to have sometimes in the Bible. So I don't know, as far as interesting interactions go, they're all pretty much on the same level of they've only regurgitated what they've been taught in like Sunday school, and they desperately try to make sense of like tough subjects like, you know, rape or divine command theory and stuff.
Yeah, it is really funny how often, and by funny I mean tragic, but it's kind of funny how often it's a bunch of dudes at church being like, all right, well, here's what the world thinks about whether or not a woman has consented, and here's what I think. And let's make sure, women, let's read Timothy right now. Shut your fucking mouths. We're in church. Don't you say a fucking word. It is funny how often we have to hear from male preachers on consent of like, you consented when you said I do. I don't think you understand what you're saying. I don't think you get it at all.
No. And actually this morning I heard a little bit more about how that one guy who is deeply connected to Trump, the one pastor recently, is got brought up on charges of sexual assaulting a 12-year-old in like the 1980s.
Yeah.
And what was
the one who just pled guilty? Is it Morris? What's that guy's name? Yeah.
Robert Morris.
Morris,
I found a number of things really concerning in that entire situation. One, like 5 or 6 years or so after the assault happened, she actually came out and like told her parents and told like the church leadership or whatnot about it, and nothing was done about it whatsoever, of course. And so he was able to build such a massive like not online presence, but just presence in the Christian community with his televangelism and everything. And then when he actually finally gets caught and he pleads guilty to it, he's only got to pay like $250,000 restitution, and then he basically gets like time served or some kind of bullshit like that. Like it's a really minimal like thing for the offense. But the question in my head is like, how many other people did he violate and like assault like in that time? And normally it's not just like a one-off situation. Normally it's like more of a systemic thing, but who knows?
Hey people, if you're watching right now, help us get the stream into more feeds to hopefully bring in more people. Right now the lines are quiet. We don't have people calling in at the moment to try and defend that their God exists. If somebody is wanting to call in about an argument that they are hearing, that they are struggling with, in the meantime, you are welcome to do so. But we are mostly looking to talk to theists about what they believe and why. If you believe in ghosts, if you believe in psychics, if you believe in Christianity, if you believe in Islam, if you believe in magic in a young girl's heart, if you believe in other kinds of magic, whatever it is, astrology, if you'd like to call in about astrology. I recently gave a talk where I focused mostly on astrology as an example of how there is no such thing as harmless faith, and that astrology is in fact not an example of a harmless belief system based on faith, that in fact there are always, that no matter what it is. Now, I'm not going to give the whole thing away here. One, if you want to, you can go watch it on Patreon. The isolated talk will be out soon. As part of our LineCon Online Live, that the people who can watch those rewatches can already see the whole stream. But if you'd like to call and argue that actually there is such thing as harmless faith. Oh, I have a family member who believes in blah, 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 and they're not hurting anybody. I'm happy to disillusion you of your misconception in that scenario as well. If you're watching right now and you'd like to help us get this into more people's feeds, just click the like button. The more you click like, interact in chat and all that kind of stuff, the better it does for our algorithm. But we are curious where these theists are. You know, there is that verse in the Bible that tells you to be ready to defend it. You right now have already an audience of several hundred people ready to hear your words, hear why we as atheists are wrong, hear your call to repentance. You will have to have a conversation with us. You won't get to talk over us. But that's what it says defend anyway in the Bible. It's not saying go shout over them. We're not Mormons here. Well, I kind of am, but the rest of us are not Mormons here. I'm low-key a little bit of Mormon. I've stopped calling myself an ex-Mormon. One, they apparently don't want to be called Mormons anyway. So I can just pick up that label. But two, I've just had this realization that it's not a useful shortcut to say. There's nuance to all of my things, right? I'm an atheist, which that has nuance. So obviously there are people who think they know what atheist means and it doesn't necessarily mean, but it also, being an atheist doesn't mean I'm a Satanist like a lot of people think. There's actual nuance to it. But I'm also a secular humanist. That has nuance, that has definition, that has stuff. There are going to be secular humanists who disagree with me on that. I'm a queer, but I also fall more one direction on the bisexual scale than the other, especially lately. I've been living a weirdly domestic life and enjoying myself. Domestic resembling life, but also not trust me, Christians would think it's horribly sinful. And when it comes to Mormonism, I guess I'm an atheist queer, doesn't believe in the Book of Mormon. It's kind of where I'm at with it. Anyway, let's get a poll in the chat and find out if we have any theists lurking. Are you
Yeah, I'd
a
say if
theist,
they're
and will you call?
Yeah, I would say that if you are a theist and you're watching and you're not considering calling, that's not very cash money of you.
That's
Do
true.
people still use that term like that?
Every day. You know who uses it
Every
a
day?
lot? Gen Z and Gen Alpha. You should say it to them. They'll accept you as one of theirs. Like, we should listen to this guy.
Hey, yeah, come on. Hello, fellow Gen Zers.
That's right.
How are you
That's
doing?
right. They'll be like, this guy gets us. Finally, this guy gets us. And I'll be one of those people who will say I'm a Mormon and not be secretly funneling the money that I'm actually getting from building up from a mostly atheist audience, because I am being so vague about my Mormonism that people go, oh, he probably doesn't, like, he's probably just traditionally Mormon, but in fact, the books you are buying off of that individual and the super chats you are sending to that individual, who will say Mormon but not much else, is in fact giving 10% of all of that income to the church. But I'm not thinking of any specific author that weirdly our community has globbed onto and not thought to ask, wait, is he funding a queer hate group? I'm not thinking of any specific individual at all.
No, that's not specific. That's pretty general right there.
It's very general. It's I would call it we got to come up with a new word, maybe ban blacklelining, something like that. It really bugs me. It really bugs me. I tried to reach out to that individual to find out this information. Was like, let's have I'm not going to call you out or something. Let's have a conversation about it. And instead of having it with me, he tried to do it through other people. I'm like, well, listen, if you're looking to just fucking obfuscate and push me off on one of your lackeys who is going to say something as dumb as it's inappropriate for you to even ask where his charitable tithings go, to a queer hate group, that's inappropriate. Are you fucking nuts? Anyway, atheist. We're all terrible. Theists, we'd love to talk to you right now. It looks like so far in the poll, we have at least a few of you have said you will call. I hope that you are truthful. Looks like there's at least a couple. There's a few of you have admitted you're too scared to call. I get it. We're very kind. We're very nice. I've actually proved, it's really funny. We even had one of these calls the other day where we had a show where it was great call after great call after great call of people we disagreed with. This was over on my channel. By the way, people, if you didn't know, over on a channel now called Jimmy Snow and the Line. It used to be my personal channel, Jimmy Snow. You can go and watch political debates, and we're doing them multiple days a week. We're doing them in vertical, but then we're releasing the clips in horizontal. And we had an individual call in who was basically, we had just had these great calls with people who we still disagreed with. But by the end, they were like, okay, you gave me something to think about. I'm going to go and figure out what I think, gather my thoughts. I'll call back another time. But we had multiple. And then the person calls in who starts being an asshole immediately. Every time they try to gish gallop, of course, I'm going to interrupt and be like, no, you're not going to go past that point. Yells about me interrupting them. And then when it's my turn to talk and they seem to agree because they finally shut the fuck up, doesn't even let me get a single sentence in, tries to interrupt me. And then I'm going, shut the fuck up. You just complained about being interrupted and you're interrupting me. And then they just devolve completely into, well, because I wanted to do, just the stupid shit. And so it's very funny. It's very funny how we'll get those calls. We'll have 3 in a row. And then there will still be the people who are like, see, you just want to shout over and yell and you're not going to let anybody make their point. It's like, no, the people who just called in, you set the tone. And don't try and have an asshole competition with me. You will lose. You definitely will lose. But I'll also be a sweet, generous with time, let you speak. Boy, if everybody's just kind to each other, everybody just is respectful, doesn't try to obfuscate, and don't resort to what is a woman. The translation of what is a woman after a conversation, nothing about women, nothing about trans issues. If you just pop in, okay, what is a woman? Just say it in its original English form. I've lost the argument, and now I would like to make an appeal to the yokels watching and win them back over. That's that's the translation. If we're talking about something else, okay, what is a woman? The people who won't talk to you. The people responsible for how dry your pee-pee is because they won't go near you. right? That's who they are. You know who they are because you're desperately seeking their attention. Anyway.
Yeah, I actually had somebody email me this week at my personal, not my personal email, but my GE email. And all they said was basically, something along the lines of, I want to debate you on trans. Let me debate you on trans. And just essentially, challenging me to that. And I didn't respond to them because I felt like they were coming in hot already. So there's no way that's going to be a good conversation.
Yeah. So people, those lines are still open. 720-619-2288, 720-619-2288. All of you federal workers, Christian workers, you don't have anything else to do right now. I'm just saying. If you work for the Trump administration or are a federal worker, you're not busy right now. Okay. You can call in 720-619-2288, 720-619-2288. And as this show completes at 5:00 Central, we will head over to the more politically themed show over on Jimmy Snow and the Line. I'll be joined there with Javon Bradley, and Javon Bradley will be back for the Sunday show After Dark as well with Forrest this evening at 7:00. But we are excited for calls coming in, but they haven't come in yet. I think we beat it. I think Christianity's beaten. At least 5 of you have said that you would call in and you have not yet. So that phone number again, 720-619-2288. We have 5 theists in chat who have said that they are there. They are theists and they will call. And we're still waiting to hear from you. 720-619-2288, 720-619-2288. I'm going to go find some Christian threads and antagonize people while we wait. Yeah. I don't know what else to do besides that at the moment. We're a little slow going on getting our call started. So I'm going to just start reading off to you some religious threads real quick, people. And I will, I'm going to make a thing. All right. What should the text say? Be like, hey, any of you can come debate us, actual atheists and leftists, right now. Here's the link, and the phone number is on the screen. If you're so correct, prove us wrong. Charlie would do it. And then I'll just put the link.
Have you seen what's his name? Crowder? Crowder started up his whole thing again, and I guess maybe he sees that there's a vacuum now.
Sure, and it's kind of one of those things that's it's one of those things where it's kind of gross, but on the same token, it's like technically he did do the prove me wrong thing before Charlie. Charlie just did it with greater reception and success and a more enthusiastic crowd. So yeah, I don't know. People, you can come out here. Where should I go? Chat, you tell me. Should I go start with MAGA Christians, or which section of threads do you think I should hit up here?
I mean, MAGA Christians, they get pissed off easy. They're snowflakes.
Yeah, we got to see who's going like right now too. Like who's talking right this second. Let's see. This is the For You tab. Is that the only feeds? Yeah. Okay. How do we? That phone number is on the screen, people. We are waiting for your call. 720-619-2288. I'm internalizing. Am I the problem, or have I just defeated the Christians so much that they're afraid to call right now? 720-619-2288. It's obviously the latter. 720-619-2288.
Oh yeah, the rapture is supposed to the rapture is supposed to happen tomorrow, right? Maybe they're getting prepared. Maybe they're like,
another rapture.
So the South African pastor, he was like, the Jewish Christians in the first century, they weren't using like the Julian or the calendar that we're using right now, right? Mm-hmm. And so they were using the Southern calendar. That means that it was a few days off. So now it's October 6th and 7th.
So okay, who's gonna give me their stuff? Whose stuff can I have? But maybe the rapture isn't happening because you aren't committed. Yeah. Have you guys thought of that? Like, if you would show God your commitment, then I'm having a hard time getting my threads to actually show me the shit I want. Like, I'm just hitting MAGA and then I'm seeing all my friends say like, MAGA sucks. I'm like, bruh, I know, but why is it that I get fed all the Nazi shit when I'm not looking for it? Hey, if you're MAGA in the chat, I'll debate you two on any political issue. At this point, we just want someone to call because it's really sad that the Christians are not showing up. What is that verse in the Bible about being ready to defend?
Something, save my ass from criticism, something. I don't know. It's like Matthew 69:420.
Oh, that's my favorite verse. I like to read it forwards and backwards.
Yeah.
Hey.
Oh, did we get somebody?
Well, it's got to be screened, but we'll find out. People, we have a queue though. We have multiple lines. So if you want to call in at 720-619-2288, and we will talk to you about Make America Great Again, Make America Healthy Again, the MAHA treatment. We are pro-vax. We are anti-GOP, anti-MAGAs. That's us. About defending Christianity. Let's find out what that verse is. I can't remember it off the top of my head. I think it is in one of the, I know Matt always knows it off of the top of his head because he likes that one. The one that's like, be prepared. You know what I'm talking about?
I had, yeah, be prepared to give a defense of your faith or whatnot.
First Peter, sorry.
Oh yeah, that's right. That sounds right now. I had a Perplexity prepare a whole bunch of Gen Z slang statements challenging God so that maybe we could, speak to a younger crowd here.
Sure, let's hear those.
No cap. The whole God thing is sus as fuck. Sus AF. Here's why, bestie.
Yeah, I think they say AF, right? Gen Z, don't you say AF? You don't say AF now. You just say AF. I'm making that up. Here's the verse. But in your hearts, revere Christ as Lord. Always be prepared to give an answer to everyone who asks you to give the reason for the hope that you have, but do this with gentleness and respect. So basically 90% of the people who have called into our show have failed at least the second part. But anyway, give us this verse again, but using Gen Z slang. And we'll give it out as a Gen Z challenge. We have calls that are being screened right now, people, so don't go anywhere. But make sure that you click like. Go ahead and click like and help us get more people to watch, therefore potentially more people to call in. And I'll make sure that our screener knows to speed them along and not let them take up too much time per call. If you are waiting to be screened and you get on with our screener, they are just trying to fill out the things we need on the production back end. Do not try and take too much of their time. We don't need that. Make sure they screen fast, please. You don't want to start your debating with all that. All right. Let me see what the Gen Z slang version. Yo, off to a great start. Because Gen Z famously says yo all the time. Yo, in your heart, keep Jesus as the real MVP. Stay ready to drop the receipts for why you vibe with hope whenever someone slides in asking. But for real, spill tea with chill and mad respect. Okay, now do Gen Alpha.
Gen Oh, is that what you're telling it? Do Gen Alpha now?
Yeah, I did Gen Z first. Yo, in your heart, keep Jesus as the real MVP. Stay ready to drop the receipts for why you vibe with hope whenever someone slides in asking. But for real, spill tea with chill and mad respect. Here's Gen Alpha style. Keep Jesus as your top fam in your heart. Always be set to explain your hype for hope when someone wants the lowdown, but do it kindly. No toxic vibes, just pure respect. I don't think that was different or better.
No. It's just using different Gen Z slang to say the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I feel like. I was going to say, if we weren't going to get calls, I was going to start antagonizing people with, saying Jesus doesn't exist, because that usually pisses atheists off for some reason.
You were going to say what?
Jesus doesn't exist. because that, for whatever reason, that topic really pisses off atheists. So like, if you get a lot of atheists on the stream, sometimes invoking that can get a pissed off atheist.
We'll quickly see some things here. We've got Jamie on the line, but Jamie, it says here that you're a Buddhist. Hi, Jamie. How are you?
Kind of nervous.
Yeah, I get it. Jamie, it seems like you're calling in mostly to just opine on something. We don't really open mic it. We don't really just like let people come in and give their hypotheses for why Christians are doing one thing or another. We'd be more interested, because it says here that you're also a theist. Is that correct?
Yes.
We'd be much more interested in discussing your theism and why you have theism, because we can all day long, we can speculate on why Christians are against trans rights, but at the end of the day, no two Christians will necessarily agree on the same things, and whether we agree on it or not won't affect anything there. So I'd really rather stay focused on kind of more of the purpose of the show, which is to examine why a person holds the beliefs they hold. Are you opposed to that?
I'm a bit embarrassed to talk about that. Sorry, Jimmy.
All right. Well, I think then we're probably going to move on there. Let me see what else we have going on there, because
I would say, Jamie, as far as like commiserating about the reasons why like Christians are against trans rights and all these other sort of topics there. I mean, I think that you're just going to find agreement that divine command theory is the reason why you got a lot of otherwise good Christians like, believing in those things. So yeah, for me, that's not too interesting just to like, high five each other and be like, yeah, divine command theory sucks. It's stupid as fuck. And then, that's like a 2-second thing kind of deal.
Well, and I don't know, maybe we could talk about spiritualism actually, I don't know too much about that. In Buddhism, it is kind of gendered, but then it's vague on that stuff. But then, that just sounds like a biology argument. All right.
If we're going to talk about spiritualism, you should know, I don't think spiritualism even has a consistent definition. And I don't even just mean that broadly as in your definition will be the same as mine. I don't think people, when they engage on discussions of spiritualism, maintain their own definition by the beginning or the end, because it just kind of means whatever you need it to mean per sentence, not even per concept. So if you want, we can talk about that, but we're going to need you to define it. And then it's going to turn out we're going to be investigating your own spiritual claims.
Yeah. I don't know. I would go towards, like, if you know what tumo is, the thing where the Tibetans make themselves warmer, and other practices with green yoga and stuff like that, but I don't feel like I'm qualified to talk about it.
Yeah, I'm also not aware of any of those things that don't have pure physiological explanations, even when it comes to meditation, when it comes to ignoring how cold you are or feeling warmer, raising your body temperature, any of those things that people are doing with some type of focus. If we're going to speak about it, we're going to talk about spirituality, we would need things that that you necessarily have. Why is it necessary to have a category called spiritualism when there are non-ethereal explanations for all of the things?
I get it. So I'll let you get on to other calls then. Sorry to
no worries, Jamie.
Too much time.
You're good. Thank you. We'll take the next call here in just a moment. Let me find out why real quick. All right. Well, if it's not letting him, no, because Bill is lying. Bill in California, who is holding, I can see if a person attempts to call. You told our screener you attempted to call and it didn't let you through. So the reason why I believe you are using a web caller is because you intend to actually just say some shitty stuff, and we've been doing this show for years. We've never had a single complaint that we doxed people with the numbers they call and whatever. That is purely there for our protection in case people want to make death threats, whatever else. We just move that along to the FBI. But also we do this as a bit of a troll filter. If you are from the US, you can definitely call in using the phone. Bill, I know you can hear me right now. So Bill, if you would like to call back in, and the screener, just in case, can go back and tell them, I already know he's not telling the truth about trying on the phone because I can see all attempted calls. We don't have full lines. We're not busy. The phone number is absolutely working because other people are calling right now. So if Bill wants to call in, he can call it 720-619-2288, and those are his options. Screener, I assume you can hear me. Go ahead and let them know that.
Yeah. Also, it seems like Bill is using a VPN to protect his,
correct,
everything. So
yes, I noticed that as well.
It seems sus as fuck. That's red flag.
Yeah. So let me find out if the screener, did you hear what I just said on the show? Because she doesn't have a live feed necessarily. I think she has the same feed as everybody else. But Bill, you will have to call back in. While other calls are screening right now, we'll talk to Atticus in California. Atticus in California, you are on the line with Jimmy and John. How are you, Atticus?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Just fine. What's going on?
So, I am in high school, right? So I'm kind of scared right now about the world I'm growing up in.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that I am pretty privileged to be living in like Silicon Valley area. I'm like, there's plenty of leftist people here for me to interact with, and I'm not very scared about like that much like Republican influence and stuff. But
sure.
I don't know how much. Sorry, 1 second. I'm just kind of nervous. I don't know how long it's going to stay like this if Trump keeps doing what he's doing. I don't know how long I can feel safe in an area like this. And I'm scared that, I know I'm definitely never going to switch to the other side, but I'm scared that my friends might get sucked into that sort of area. I'm wondering if there's anything I can do right now as a high schooler to help protect people from that, or if it's just hope that they don't come into contact with those people.
No, well, definitely not hoping they don't come into contact with those people. Right now, what you're going to have, especially in the formative years, is competition of community. And so, unlike what a lot of people, even on my own team, are saying, I would say don't be so quick to try and isolate people who don't believe the same as you. In as much as you can protect yourself from abuse, it is for a lot of us, myself included, it is our friends who were tolerant of our bigotry, but also challenged it, that led to our ultimate change. And so I'm not fond of the like, nope, until you agree with us, you can't sit with us, Becky. I don't like that approach at all. I like in as much as a person can stay safe, again, not asking people who are the subject of the bigotry, the subject of abuse, to befriend their abusers, but in as much as a person can remain safe, to try and make sure that you are maintaining community with people with whom you disagree. And then generally, you're just going to want to make sure that you know how to be. I think skepticism is the number one thing to model. I don't even think it has to be about politics, just how to evaluate a claim. And then good old fashioned mockery. Unfortunately, that's where we're at too. I think about talking about dumb concepts that are laughable, should be treated as dumb, because that's pretty much what they were doing with things that are true. That's their whole "what is a woman" shtick, because they know that it appeals to their common sense yokels, despite the fact that even the dictionary has never had a 3-word definition. In isolation, there've always been additional definitions. So I think it's a multifaceted approach. What about you, John?
Well, so I don't exactly have a lot of experience, talking to high school kids. I mean, I do have a high schooler as a son currently, and he's pretty left leaning like I am already. And that's with no, influence from me. He just is that way. But from my experience with sort of the alt-right and the right-wing crowd, you may run into just them not caring if they're wrong. I'd give you an example. My stepfather, he's, way, way far on the MAGA side. And he was repeating a lot of MAGA talking points, like about AOC and how much money she makes and how like she's a multimillionaire too. And why are you protecting a multimillionaire and blah, 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 blah. And, it takes literally just a few seconds to like Google it. And you can get like the actual official documentation from Congress showing what AOC's reported income is and how much money she actually has, because they have to report that. I presented that to him and it just literally did not matter to him, like whatsoever. He's just going to continue to repeat the lie. So I would gauge your expectations for one in your conversations. I do support what Jimmy is saying. Don't just outright exclude them or try to push them out of the community. Definitely try to talk some sense into them. Typically, when I'm trying to convince people away from a position, I'll try to use something like street epistemology, where you take a more Socratic method, you ask them questions and get them to really kind of critically examine the bullshit that they're saying. And then I think a good fallback is the reductio ad absurdum that Jimmy was mentioning, just basically pointing out, how absurd and stupid the things that they're saying are, trying to put it in a light that would make sense to them. Normally, at least for the MAGA crowd, from what I've experienced, is that they don't really care about anything unless it directly affects themselves. Now, your mileage may vary on that. So just, adapt with whatever situation you're in. But from my experience in interacting with people, they just simply don't care unless you can show them how it's going to directly affect them. A good example of this is the farmers out in the I guess it's the Midwest, where like all the soybean farmers are and everything like that. They all voted heavily MAGA, and now they're seeing the repercussions of Trump's tariffs. Like Trump has pushed China into this position where they're not buying any soybeans, and that's causing the soybean farmers to basically go bankrupt, to the point where Trump is now going to have to bail them out yet again during his presidency. And so like, unless it starts personally affecting them, then they're just not going to care. So if you can try to contextualize something showing how it personally could affect them or does affect them, or what it would be like for it to affect them, you might have a little bit more success in that.
Okay, I see. One more thing is that while I'm a little bit scared about these people, like sort of being convinced by these MAGA ideas, there are people who at my school who genuinely are like growing up in a family that is MAGA. And while I'd love to convince them that it's not true and stuff, I'm afraid of the repercussions it could have on their like personal life with the family they have to live with every day. So I'm just like, while I'd rather convince them early and have them not go into adulthood thinking that this stuff is true, I don't want to have them grow up with their last 3 or 2 years of their family being tense and, just bad, I guess,
That's for them to decide. That is by like, not to be a dick, but you're now actually going beyond the purview of what is any of your business. You should present the truth and always represent the truth. They get to make the evaluations of whether or not they want to challenge their family. They want to challenge their local status quo and everything. That none of that is, it's a very condescending position, honestly, to take, where people are like, well, maybe they'll be ready for the truth at this point in their life. And it's one of the same reasons why people don't do it just with very young people, but also older people. Like, let's not if so-and-so is this, they're that old, so let's just let them have it. And I think I don't think you would appreciate it in reverse, because it may be that those people come out of it and decide they need to lie or whatever they have to do to not be exposed to their family, as I did with Mormonism. I hid my loss of faith for a long time, but that's up to them. And I think that most people end up with, I appreciated being able to be disillusioned of the beliefs that led me as a person who was trying to be a good person to be bigoted and hateful toward other people, to harm other people, I would have rather been told that sooner and had those beliefs modified and changed sooner, because whatever I'm worried about myself and the ruckus it might cause with the family isn't worth the harm that those beliefs are making me confident I should be making me confident in a way that makes me happily harm other people. And so you're basically choosing who gets harmed. And you're basically saying, don't let them have a decision in whether or not they are going to hold off from them because their family might harm them. So don't remove from them the beliefs that are causing them to harm so many others, is how I should have said it in the first place. Much simpler.
Yeah. And I would just,
that's the big thing.
Yeah. Sorry. I was just going to say, I'd be cautious about, like placing blame on yourself or feeling responsible for how other people act. I know that me in my past, like I've had trouble distinguishing that personally. So I would just caution against, like, if you convince somebody away from a bad position and somebody else treats them horribly for it, that's not your fault for convincing them away. Like that their decisions are their decisions, and you have nothing to do with how somebody else treats another person in that particular context.
Thank you. I guess I should have thought about it a bit more. That makes a lot of sense.
No worries. Thanks, Atticus. Did you have something else? Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, this helped me with my decision. There's like this speech club at my school, and I'm planning to talk about either trans rights or some topic about socialism, just to help people understand what it is, and that it's not,
and
all horrible trans people are destroying the community or whatever.
That kind of stuff. Yeah. It's funny though too, because the consideration you're having is not a consideration your opposition is having at all. Even as they sit there and go, cancel Netflix because there was trans representation in a children's show that a parent would have had to have chosen to put on for their child. Right? Because at the end of the day, what they actually want is for the government to go ahead and run their lives and raise their children for them, but they're pretending that they don't. Because it literally is up to you. Netflix is a library. Stop being such a bitch about it. But when you're talking about everything else, whatever way they have the ability to get Christianity to children, they will absolutely do, and will try to sneak around and bypass the wishes of a parent and try and guilt them or gaslight them, and with this whole like, but don't shouldn't the child be able to choose for themselves? When it comes to their Christianity, which is an actual ideology, an actual faith, they want children to have full autonomy if they are in a non-Christian home or just a different Christian home. But when it comes to matters that have nothing to do with faith, that are actually like scientifically documented actual things, then it's all like, let's take away all the autonomy from the children. Anyway.
Yeah.
Atticus, anything else before we let you go?
No, I don't think so. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you.
All right. See you, Atticus. Good luck.
Can confirm for everybody that Bill was full of shit, because Bill has not tried to now call back from a phone number. So clearly this was a person who was going to troll, who was going to probably yell slurs or something like that. Who knows which dumb way they were going to think this will make MAGA look good, where I resort to, maybe I'll call them the N-word. We're not racist. And yet that's what we time after time keep having MAGA trolls call in and then resort to. And I was going to say, when they say the phone doesn't work, maybe they're blocked, but I can actually even see, I have a number here that will go up if somebody who is blocked, anybody who is given a busy signal for any reason, including being blocked, I have a counter, and the counter has not gone up because we haven't had full lines yet. So nobody blocked and nobody failing to. So Bill was full of shit. Bill, you've tried 2 different IP addresses. You're trying to VPN your way in. You're trying to bypass. I know what's up. And we'll see if, I mean, I know what usually their next strategy is. But Bill, if you want to call in and actually have the discussion. Anyway, otherwise, Christians, we don't believe in God. We'd like to know why you do. And we'd like to know why you think we should believe in God. Any type of theist, Christians especially, that's where we are from. Do you believe in astrology? Do you believe in psychics? Do you believe in, at this point, I'd take an essential oils call. Because I know people have tried to cure autism with essential oils. You call in and you tell us why you believe in these different spiritual, faith-based ideologies. We'd love to hear from you. In the meantime, let's talk to Gilberto, who is a Canadian theist, allegedly. Gilberto, you are on the line with Jimmy and John. How are you?
Good. How's it going, Jimmy?
Just peachy. You're not actually Bill, right?
No, I'm good. I don't know who Bill is.
All right. Well, I don't think that was the real name.
Have you ever talked to Bill before?
Okay, no. Bill was calling in, trying to use the IP address from the United States, trying to use a VPN to call in and troll, essentially. But you're apparently calling in because you're from Canada. Hopefully, you're telling the truth here, and that's why you called in on an IP address. But Gilberto, what point is it you want to make? Can't hear you, Gilberto. You might need to touch your phone to wake it up.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Sure do.
Okay, sorry about that. I know previously you said you wanted MAGA people to call in. I didn't call in to debate theism or atheism in particular. However, I do lean theistic. But when it comes to
what kind of theist?
Political points, a Christian.
Okay. Cool.
But when it comes to the political perspective with MAGA, I used to be more left-leaning. I don't vote in the United States, but I do have family that live there as well. And I see a trend where basically men in particular on the left, men of color like myself on the left, are starting to move away from the left. And I believe a big part of it has to do with equality and the whole idea of patriarchy. Would you espouse or do you ascribe to the belief of a patriarchy?
Do I espouse to the belief of the patriarchy? I think I'm going to need a better definition than that because it's so vaguely put. If you are asking whether or not I believe that there is an inequitable patriarchal system in place that seeks to prioritize the well-being of men over the well-being of anybody else, and especially the well-being of cisgender white men, cisgender heterosexual white men, yes, I absolutely. Not only do I believe that, I actually think most Christians believe it too, because most Christians celebrate that the patriarchy would be the superior system. So yes, of course, I believe that there is that the United States runs on a mainly patriarchal system.
Also, I'm not. Is it true that more? Again. Yeah, is it? I'm looking this up, on Perplexity right now. But are more people of color becoming conservative?
More men of color voted for Trump than in times prior. They did gain those things. I don't think it actually has anything to do with the patriarchy thing per se. I think it has to do with them being a part of the patriarchy and Donald Trump appealing to that. But I think a big part of it is the caricaturization, essentially, of masculinity and an absolute grift from the right.
Yeah, so I can explain the reason why people like myself are leaving the left position.
Well, you can explain why you and you're a Canadian. So I will tell you, I will take that with an entire grain of salt, but I would say you probably want to limit mostly to why you did. I won't consider whatever your position as a Canadian will be necessarily why Americans.
Well, so I have friends in the United States who also work in similar lines of field.
Great, I can't investigate that.
So they would. Yeah, okay, so I'll explain it to you, and then your listeners can ultimately decide if what I'm saying makes sense with their lived experience if they're a man. So when it comes to the patriarchy, the issue is that when you're looking at some of those gaps, it doesn't take the pay gap in particular, doesn't take into account that men take more dangerous jobs. And there's also, do you believe in pay equity?
Wait. We can get to there soon, but you made a claim. Are you sure that pay gaps that are expressed, unless you're trying to go with some old number or literally do like the right likes to do, pick the worst version of the argument ever, are you sure that the pay gap numbers are based on that they do not account for the differences in the jobs that men tend to take that women don't? And are you sure that the pay gap numbers don't actually show things like a pay gap between, on average, men and women doing the same jobs, or white people and black people doing the same jobs?
Yeah, so it's very mixed when it comes to those studies. I know the pay
That's
gap.
not how you presented it at first. Go on.
Well, it's mixed and here's the reason it's mixed in particular. So women out earn men in their earlier years. It's only at 36 where you start to see that pay differential. Did you know that?
Sorry, give it again. I was reading something. What'd you say?
Are you aware that women out earn men until their mid-30s?
Until their mid-30s?
Yeah, it's only past the mid-30s where men tend to earn more on average.
I will take a look at that.
Okay. And the reason for that, do you also believe in pay inequality, that the CEO gets paid more than they did previously?
Oh, if you want to talk about inequity and CEOs, we can definitely talk about inequities in CEOs. If you're wanting to describe that the average CEO adjusted for inflation is still getting paid, it wouldn't really matter because the extremes are still getting so much larger and so outpaced, and CEO pay hasn't ever really been equitable in this country. So, by the way, I'm currently finding that the stat you just gave already, and this is why I like to fact check. I actually use a specific system that can do a lot of it quickly and pull up sources. There is definitely no consensus. While it is closer, women ages 25 to 34 earn about 95 cents for every dollar men earn in that cohort. So far, just doing quick fact checking, it's going to be some very specific thing. Accounting for the same job. How do you know that's not accounting for the same job? Because this looks like it's a Pew Research that says it is accounting for the same job.
Okay, so yeah, I was about to say, if you're using the Pew Research, the census data also shows that around 93 to 100% of women earn a percentage of what men do. In some metropolitan cities like New York, Washington, Los Angeles, women actually out-earn men by a few percentage points.
I'm literally I'm typing this in, looking for things to support. I'm not trying to bias it against it. And literally it's like, sorry, can't find it, because even from not just Pew, but Bureau of Labor Statistics show that among young workers performing the same job, earnings are nearly equal, with women earning about 8% on average less, 92 to 95 cents for every dollar earned by men in the same age group and occupation. So far, still not finding that. And I'm guessing what you have is a very specific thing that was done by a group that we're not going to examine. We won't be able to examine what their actual research methods was, but it's something that's a group like Turning Point USA repeats with, because right now I can't find anything that is making the claim, even when I am trying to lean the system in your favor. But also when it comes to pay gap, and pay gap isn't the only thing. In fact, this is why I saw you had seen that you told the screener that Trump is better for equality in the workplace. Do you know what disparate impact liability is?
I don't.
Great. So this is a thing that Donald Trump has used an executive order to try and repeal. And I went ahead and pulled up the kind of like a summary definition so that my own legal explanation to you won't get all fucked up. Disparate impact is a well-established civil rights doctrine embedded in federal law, notably Title VII and the Civil Rights Act, and upheld in major Supreme Court decision. It allows courts to examine policies that are facially neutral, appear neutral, but have statistically significant harmful effects on certain groups. If a policy is unnecessary for business needs, remedies can be sought. Examples include hiring tests, promotion requirements, or workplace rules that unfairly exclude women, minorities, or other protected groups. So basically, it is these things where it's like we put this policy into place, and on the face, it looks neutral. But in the way it will operate, it is going to exclude people. There are very obvious examples of this that, by the way, have happened also on the left. Jon Stewart famously is told when he realized they were doing it, that their hiring process looked like it was color blind and gender blind, and yet they were mostly getting one very narrow group of people, quote unquote, applying for the jobs. By the time that they were getting to them, it was basically getting narrowed down to almost entirely white dudes. And so they made those changes, and people can have legal changes. Now, Donald Trump has signed an executive order essentially saying, don't investigate these anymore. Make it harder for claims on the basis of this, because as long as it's facially neutral, as long as it appears colorblind, whether or not it is built in a way to actually still be a force of segregation, doesn't matter. So we are on we have obviously gone to very much the political end. But when we're describing disparities in access in work, it's not even just about if a woman finally gets to a supervisory position, does she make as much as her male cohort? Which again, everything appears to point to no, but it's not as bad as it used to. She makes at least slightly less, however, on average. It's also a matter of how much do women have access and are actually able to get to those places. And it's kind of like a lot of things with the right, where I've worked in corporate America, I've worked in retail America, and 100% I've worked at multiple jobs, especially, I feel like anyone who's worked at a Verizon has seen this. If you are a woman there and you're okay at sales or good at sales, you're probably going to stay a salesperson. If you're a guy and you're good at sales and you have that like salesmanship thing, the man who is your supervisor is going to lift you up. And there's going to be a thing of like, no, they're just going with who they liked the most in the interview, but it's time after time after time, it's a man because they're looking for leadership qualities, and other men hire men because they think leadership and masculinity go hand in hand. So now I'll give you back the mic, Gilberto, to be much more clear about what the gaps are that are important, where you want to go to a very myopic thing about how much of a pay gap there is, and make points that so far I have not been able to find the corroborating evidence for.
Well, here's the thing. So you said that women are getting paid less. The fact that I bring up that it's only after their 30s do we start to see that gap.
Again, already fact check it and have not been able to find your corroborating evidence. Where should I go to find your corroborating evidence?
93 to 100%. You even said that you agree that Pew Research shows that they
hold on, Gilberto.
I did not say 93 to 100. I said 92 to 95. So if your point is so strong, why do you have to change my words to make it?
So hold on. So we agree that the gap is smaller during the younger years.
Than it used to be. No. The gap is smaller than it used to be. I haven't yet investigated whether or not the gap then increases more. But yes, it looks like it does. I'm finding that information now. As women reach their early to mid 30s, pay gap reappears and grows, so that by ages 35 to 44, women earn just 83% of what men do. Exactly. So you're saying exactly. There is a pay gap. If you were agreeing with me, you'd be on my side. There is a pay gap still.
Well, you're not letting me talk, so I can't
up to 34. I'm going to in a moment, but you're being weird about it all and acting like this information is supporting you. You still, despite being asked twice, haven't given your corroborating evidence of your claim before, but you seem to be conceding now that you were wrong. It isn't more, and that it is 92 to 95%, which is still a measurable gap. Maybe you were doing specifically white women. I would love to see what your corroborating evidence is, because it's either going to be that or it's going to just be something with a nonsense measuring method. But then you went exactly, because when they get older, the gap does reappear. So please do explain to me how there is a gap at all the age groups, and this makes your point for you. And continue, I think, to ignore the other points I made. You got to touch your phone. I don't know. Keep your phone awake.
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you say the gap reappears. Did you establish that it is initially present at younger ages, earlier than 30? Because that hasn't been proven.
Except I just cited to you the information that it was both from the not only Pew, but also, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and that I was doing that searching with a bias towards your end, going, show me the information, show me the studies. You could solve this very quickly, Gilberto, instead of trying to go like, okay, let me now ask these like pedantic, myopic questions to see if I can try and discredit. Where is the better evidence, the better stats that you have, Gilberto? Just tell me where to find it. I'll go look.
But I'm trying to clarify, just like you clarified something I said.
Great. Before you clarify, Gilberto, where is the evidence that you have? Gilberto, yes, because you're not answering my question. So the next thing you're going to answer, otherwise we need to switch to God shit because you're really failing on this. Gilberto, you will talk when I tell you. This is how it works. Gilberto, you are going to now tell me where to find the stats that you cited that say they make more, or you are going to concede you made it up or were mistaken.
I already conceded the fact that the gap is smaller, and even if they don't necessarily make more, that doesn't defeat my position. However, you're not letting me
to be clear, Gilberto. To be clear, Gilberto. You'll get to in a moment. To be clear, Gilberto. You'll get to in a moment. To be clear, your initial claim that up until 35, women make more than men was untrue. You are admitting that and conceding that.
That's not totally untrue because in cities like New York, Washington, D.C., and Los Angeles, women under 30 actually out-earn men by a few percentage.
So it's not a broad category of women. It is specifically in places that have bluer cities with larger amounts of worker protection. Those are the places where it's happening.
Yes, the most densely populated cities where most people live tend to have women out-earn men. So as a percentage of people,
Gilberto, you've just stated another fact. Where can I find those facts backed up? Give me those stats.
Yeah, so I just cited New York, Washington, D.C., and Los Angeles.
Right, where do I look up New York, Washington, D.C., and Los Angeles? Do I need to go there and start asking people, or could you point me to the data that you are using since the first claim, you're now trying to cherry pick. You used it as a broad claim, and now you're saying, no. Here's my cherry pick claim. You're giving me data. Where can I verify the data?
Okay, so here's the thing. It's going to be kind of boring for your listeners, though. I can type it in right now and then.
Oh, got it. So you don't actually know where the data is, but you're thinking that if you were to start Googling now, you'll be able to find it. No, I can go ahead and do it too, since I was already doing your homework for you. You should have had this information ready if you were going to stake your claim on it. What was it besides New York City, Washington, and where? Los Angeles?
Los Angeles, yep.
Okay, great. We'll see if we can do your work for you now that we've gone from women in broadly in America down to these specific 3 cities that are blue that have more worker protections because they have unions and are bluer places. But that makes my point that equity has improved already because in the blue cities, there might be closer to equity. Do go on.
I do want to
point out. Hold on.
Can I just ask a question to verify sources? If I type into ChatGPT, do women out-earn men in younger years? And it says younger workers under 30 in the U.S. and several developed countries, women often earn about the same or slightly more than men in their early 20s. Are you saying ChatGPT, which aggregates a bunch of studies?
What is the source of that information?
I love that you want to go with, I'm going to type it into ChatGPT and just cite that and tell you it cites a lot of things, while somewhat tacitly admitting you've never gone and checked those sources.
So here's the thing.
Also, I was going to point out somebody.
I did not see.
Or are you lying?
Gilberto, that is not, excuse me, Gilberto, that is not what I just said. Gilberto, if your points are so strong, why do you need to keep lying about what I said?
But if my points were inaccurate, why would ChatGPT say that?
What did I actually say? What did I actually say to you, Gilberto?
You said if I'm lying, why would I have to?
What did I say to you before that? What was the point that you then said? So are you lying or is it lying? Because you accused me of saying that ChatGPT is lying.
Yeah, you said that I actually researched and pull the actual studies, but you didn't either. You decided.
Oh, excuse me. Yes. Excuse me. First of all, yes, I have deeply gone into, because this point has come up many, many times. When it comes to right now, did I read it in preparation for this show? No, because I didn't know what claim you were going to make. Have I gone over way more data on this than you've even begun to consider? Absolutely, positively. And once again, you are sitting here and going, there are averages in specifically blue states. in specifically blue cities. You've tried to cherry pick. And by the way, why would is the only option that I'm accusing ChatGPT of lying? Because the fact check system that I'm using is also built on AI. It actually can utilize ChatGPT as well as others. So are you saying that it must be lying? It may have been using ChatGPT.
Can I interject here real quick?
Yeah, go
ahead.
ahead.
ChatGPT's red pill. ChatGPT's red pill.
Gilberto. So I just want to. I feel like this is going to be a demonstration of how inept you're being at this particular situation. Somebody in our chat right now actually quoted from Pew Research the exact stat that you're doing. I just simply went to Google to put in exactly what's quoted from the Pew Research about this, and it does say the thing that you're talking about. But you know what is also contained in that same Pew Research data is the key contributing factors like education. Young women are now more likely to be college graduates than young men. And this is especially true in large, highly educated cities like New York and Washington, D.C. have women in those fields. So I feel like what you're doing is you're complaining that women are more educated than men and are therefore somehow you think that is driving men to the more conservative side because they're dumber? Is that? I feel because career choices, young women in these areas are going to be more interested in getting into higher paying fields such as professional and technical services. Also, they have different marriage and family decisions with them tending to marry later so that they can achieve more professional success prior to getting married. So like there are contributing factors here in those particular instances, and it kind of makes it seem like a bullseye fallacy.
So here's the thing. Am I going to be allowed to talk uninterrupted?
No, definitely not. If we feel the need to interrupt you, we're definitely going to interrupt you again. Thank you for asking.
Thank you for taking the time then, because I don't interrupt when you guys are talking.
Oh, Gilberto, Gilberto, that's because you don't do this professionally for a living. You aren't equipped to interrupt us and know when a person needs to be put back on track because you keep committing fallacies and going off. Would you like me to read what I just put into ChatGPT? Since we said ChatGPT, I decided to go with your thing.
Just agreed with me, and then he justified the reason as to why women are making more in their
Wait, so you do want to respond or you want to whine? So you do want to...
Before you said it wasn't true,
excuse me,
or is it not true? Is it true or is it not true?
Excuse me.
Is it true or is it not true?
Hey, wait, Gilberto, I'm going to do what you did. This is what I just put into ChatGPT 5. In America, up to age 35 years, do women out-earn men? ChatGPT 5 says, no, the data do not generally support the claim that women under 35 out-earn men in the U.S., at least in aggregate. Here's what the evidence shows. So when you're saying, is it true or is it not true? It is true that the Pew Research that he specifically just referred to does make a case that in some places, up to 35 years old, women out-earn men because they are more educated than men. It is funny that we're being so myopic about 35 because once again, even if the gap is getting better or they have even bypassed it, you're once and now describing a group of people. On top of the cities you tried to cherry pick, a group of people that generally lean bluer. But ChatGPT 5, which you just told me, either I'm lying or it's lying. Well, ChatGPT 5 right now says, no, the data do not generally support the claim that women under 35 out-earn men in the U.S., at least in aggregate. Here's what the evidence actually shows. And then it puts a bunch of things for the Bureau of Labor Statistics and others. So, Gilberto, are you lying or is ChatGPT lying? This is what you did to me a minute ago.
Okay, yeah. So let me. What was it?
No. Wait. You interrupted and went, "No, are you lying?" Or when I tried to explain and presented nuance, you went, "No, are you lying or ChatGPT lying?" Gilberto, are you lying or is ChatGPT lying?
So if you can give me the prompt that you typed in, because
I wrote it. I already said it to you. In America, I will put it.
Just acknowledge the fact that I was correct.
Excuse me. My co-host just acknowledged the fact that there is Pew Research that indicates some version of what you said and with nuance, not what you actually present. Excuse me, Gilberto. You're going to keep complaining about interrupting and keep trying to interrupt. Clearly not interrupting is not a value of yours.
You're not letting me talk. I would love to not interrupt you, but you're not letting me talk.
Absolutely. You will get to talk if you actually do so honestly and stop trying to be such... Okay, again, I was going to be mean.
How am I being bad faith? I'm honestly...
Are you lying or is ChatGPT lying?
But you see,
are you lying or is ChatGPT lying?
This is why people have left the left. I appreciate your co-host
because they argue back to the left, the right, the way they were arguing back.
There was no sources.
Gilberto,
I'm just trying to have an honest conversation.
No, you aren't. All right, I'm going to mute you because you're incapable. Gilberto, you're not trying to have an honest conversation. He goes, this is why people left the left. Because when we started arguing in bad faith, they started arguing back at us with the exact same bad faith we were just using. You literally did it as I was doing your is ChatGPT or you lying thing back to you. The way you did it to me and went, this is why people left the left. And by the way, if you leave an ideology over how you didn't like the way you talked with a person who shared that ideology, which I bet you couldn't summarize my ideology anyway, then you were a weak fucking believer in the first place and your beliefs are based on fifis. And that's not something to brag about either. Every angle of this, what you are like, the point you are trying to make, you are sucking at. But do go on. John, did you say you have something you want to say before I unmute him?
Yeah, I just want to, because I've been brought up a couple of times here in the light of like affirming what Gilberto is saying here, and obviously Jimmy was correct in that I wasn't affirming what he was saying. I was just saying that all you had to do was say that I got this from Pew Research or something like that. Then we could have investigated it. You decided to play coy with us and not cite your sources, and to where we could actually go and look it up. And it seems like the reason why you didn't do that, just simply tell us where you're getting this information, because you were obviously reading off of a prompt or something like that, and instead of telling us where you were getting it, because I could just easily go to the Pew Research and see the contributing factors, which makes it seem like you called in order to complain about women being more educated and being deserving of better pay because of their education and the career choices that they make and all this, which makes the right-wing men look like really big fucking snowflakes, that they're getting so angry that they leave the left because they're too stupid to stay in the left.
So as I unmute you, Gilberto, I hope you will start by thanking John because he believes you are acting in more good faith than I do. I think the reason why you brought it up is because you heard it on a podcast and you just repeated it, that you didn't actually know where it came from. And that's why it took so long to find out where the information even came from in the first place. And now, again, still unaware of what it actually says, you are trying to say, therefore, in total summary, my title level of understanding of this article from Pew, of this study from Pew, please admit that I was right and you were wrong. So I hope you will thank John for believing you were engaging in better faith than I do, because I don't believe you actually were engaging at that level of good faith. Not good. I don't think John's saying you're engaging good faith, just better than I was. So now I will unmute you. You're unmuted, Gilberto. This is your time. You wanted the time to talk.
Thank you. Am I going to, well, the thing is, you're just going to interrupt me. So my
when
point
necessary.
is I did put into ChatGPT and I said, do women out-earn men in their younger years? That was the prompt I used. If ChatGPT is presenting me false information, you're basically making the claim that ChatGPT has a right-wing bias. Is that
Excuse
accurate?
me, I won't be making any claim, and you are once again trying to not address the actual points made and go off on these pedantic tangents that do not matter. By the way, I am going to interrupt you again. Hang on, I'm going to interrupt you again and pause.
Yes,
people, this is the Sunday show. The phone number is 720-619-2288. If somebody would like to defend their belief in God, because right now we are sitting here, we've got Gilberto. The next guy wants to make a point about trans people. Oh, it looks like they're pretending to be Bill, or they are Bill. I doubt their name is actually Bill. Might have to check whether that phone number is something they just spoofed. But Bill, after the VPN failed, may actually be on the line. We're going to find out. If somebody would actually like to call in who can engage in good faith, understands that debate isn't trying to get your opponent to do your work for you, and understands like being this level of pedantic of going, okay, well, I used a slightly different prompt. By the way, the prompt you used, Jimmy, was actually closer to my actual claim, but my slightly different prompt gave something. And so now I'm going to make you argue with whether or not I am saying ChatGPT has a certain lean, which is not a position I've ever taken or pointed out. Can you actually stick to the actual matters at hand? Either let's go to talking about theism and why you believe in God, because that would be far more interesting, or stick to your original point that Trump is better for equality in the workplace and start responding to those issues, since Donald Trump hasn't improved any of these stats and has removed protections for workers and has been an anti-union president and has removed all kinds of things that actually have, as you've somewhat admitted, in blue cities been more successful at bringing people closer to equity. But you know, go on. Here it's back to you, and you're going to make some dumb point about ChatGPT. Touch your phone, can't hear you. How are you? It is funny that they can never figure out how to keep their phone awake.
Well, so the thing is, I'm polite and I listen to what you have to say, and my phone goes to sleep. I'm not talking, so I wouldn't know if I'm actually.
Maybe turn off the sleep function.
Well, I appreciate that. You know, you brought that up. My apologies. I'm listening to you the whole time, which is why my phone goes.
Thank you for apologizing. I forgive you.
So when it comes to what previously, before I called in, you said you were willing to have discussions with people who lean MAGA, which is why I called in. If you want to talk about theistic stuff, I would not have called in. However, I do want to say that if people are going to just go on to ChatGPT, do research, do women out-earn men in their younger years was the prompt I used. People can look it up.
Do you believe that ChatGPT is a research entity? I knew you were going to make a bullshit point about ChatGPT.
Yeah, so ChatGPT is great in that it is able to aggregate all these sources together, and it makes a generalization.
And you trust the generalization as a conclusion, despite the fact we have shown on this program that if you just change the wording of the prompt, for example, mine accurate to what you actually said, and then yours to being more broad, that if you just change the prompt, you can get it to make both points. So I don't know why you're still sticking on now the defending ChatGPT when I'm saying you need to do more than ChatGPT, because what happened where I turned in America up to age 35, do women out-earn men, which you said that was much closer to what your actual claim was. And then you switched it to, I'm sorry, what did you do? I'll do a new chat. I'll type it in word for word. What was your prompt?
Yeah, so if you do women out-earn men in younger years, and you'll see the stats about the
men in younger years. And you didn't even add in America?
It talks about, they're all referencing America, so.
Weird. So you're in Canada and it location grabbed you and knew you meant the United States? Here's how I know you're not Canadian, because you just gave away that your algorithm knew you were in the United States. Well done.
Well, it says, I'm sorry, it doesn't say United States. It says in several developed countries and the United States.
Oh, interesting. So we've gotten even broader than your original claim, or you're lying about where you're calling from. Which one is it, Gilberto?
No, it says it right here. It says in the U.S. and several other developed countries. But that's the thing is, why assume I'm lying? Like, why can't it just be that I'm expressing an opinion and belief genuinely?
Yeah, the word lie, it's doing a lot of lifting. I just think you're dishonest.
For what reason?
Technically, it's different because of the way, because you're absolutely a bad faith interlocutor.
For what reason? I'm genuinely.
I've already laid it out. I've already laid it out. The tangents that you are trying to go on to avoid accountability for your poorly researched position. That you think that all of what you have done, and in fact, you even again, you keep making tacit admissions. When I said, and you've never actually read any of these studies, you basically tacitly admitted all you've done is read headlines and ChatGPT when you said neither have you. So that's you admitting that you haven't and then accusing me of also not having, except for that you're wrong. I have. So this would be a summary.
Never read studies. I don't think I've ever said that you've never read studies. I would imagine you've read some studies.
I said you haven't actually read the studies about the information we're discussing. You said neither have you. And we were talking about, bro, and Gilberto, we are so still far from the point that you're calling in. Trump is better for equality in the workplace, and also far from the point of what the show is, which is that there is not a good reason to believe in God. So which one are we going to stay farther from?
Okay, but did you not invite MAGA people to call in? So you're being
Gilberto. Once again, you are distracted. Gilberto, you're once again. This is why you're a dishonest interlocutor. Excuse me. Jesus Christ, I have to mute you every time. Gilberto, this is why you're a dishonest interlocutor, because I just said here is the point you called in on that we were engaging on, that we're already far from the original point. We've already given you a permission slip and an exception to that this would usually be a God show. But you can't even stay on that point. Now we're arguing over whether or not, and by the way, this explains a lot of conservative mind thinking, whether or not the summary, the aggregate summary from ChatGPT 5 should be trusted as what you called it, research. Okay? So that's where we are now. The topic you supposedly called in on was Trump is better for equality in the workplace. It's supposed to be on God, which, by the way, you started the call saying you could do that, but you called in for something else, and you're still not going to it. So I'm saying we made an exception, said you can call in on the Trump stuff. That's where we should be, and we're not even fucking there. So we're gone from the original, we're gone from the exception, and now we're off in La La Land, masturbating to the sounds of our own voice, and I keep interrupting you so you don't come so fast. Go on, Gilberto. That was gross, but I'm annoyed.
Yeah, so your claim's not even accurate. In my prompt to talk to you guys, I never put that I was going to discuss atheism or theism.
That's not what I just said. You can't listen. You literally said, I said at the beginning of the call, you said you'd be able to discuss it, but you called in for something else. Take notes, dude. No, I'm literally taking notes while you're talking.
I never said that.
Yes, you did.
That, though.
Yes, you did. You said you could, but you called in about something else. I'll go back and look, and if I'm wrong, bummer. But John, do you remember him saying something to that end?
No, I said what I said initially is that I know this show's typically about atheists, but you guys invited people to talk about MAGA, and I'd rather talk about that.
Somebody go back to the beginning and just put it in the chat. If I'm wrong, I'll admit I was wrong, but I'm fairly certain he acknowledged that he would be able to talk about that. Again, he very pedantically wants to focus on this now instead of mentioning how far he is from the actual topic he did call in on, and that he has been invited to stay on that topic but can't even stay there.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you.
Sorry, did you have any question?
I don't appreciate you, but we can lie.
Exactly.
Now we're here to lying again.
No, I genuinely do appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. No, you don't.
Shut the fuck up. No, you don't. Get out of
here. How would you know that?
Yeah, so, I just do magic.
Yeah, okay. Gilberto.
And I'm about to
Gilberto.
I call in to have a conversation with people.
I understand. I get it. You called in for something. But I kind of summarized your point in that apparently men are moving away from the left side of the spectrum to the right side of the spectrum because they're angry about educated women. Is that what I'm supposed to take away from like your point? Trying to get back to the original point here.
I appreciate that. And, I'm not sure who the person is who keeps gish galloping over me. It's one of those things.
Oh my God. People, fuck.
Well, if we're not.
Could we stop?
Hey, Gilberto. All right, I've muted you again, Gilberto. So even given the opportunity to get back on track, you are instead complaining about the call and using words you don't actually understand what they mean. Because it doesn't just simply mean to say a lot. It is to overwhelm you with points that you are unable to refute, and then basically being like, you only hit 2 or 3 of mine, and I made 30 points, so since you didn't refute the other 27, I've won. That's how a gish gallop actually works. I am long-winded. Long-windedness is not the same thing. Please learn your fallacies and your debate tactics before you start citing them, lest you accidentally look like a dum-dum. And Gilberto, you wouldn't want to look like that, would you? So Gilberto, if you would now like to engage, by the way, people have gone back and looked, and they said that you said that you could talk on theism, but that is not what, hang on, the person had put it, that if you could talk about theism, but that's not what you called in to talk about. And I don't find that my interpretation of that, you said you didn't, I find my interpretation of that just fine. So you could have called in and talked on the topic, but you want to talk about something else. We said that's fine. And now we are once again so far away. So Gilberto, are you going to come back to a topic, or are you going to keep whining about the quality of the call? Oh, I have to unmute you. My bad. Go ahead.
You don't have to mute me. I actually listen to what you say.
No, I literally was muting you because you wouldn't shut up when people were talking to you. I don't mute you when you are quiet. I mute you when you're talking and someone is trying to say something to you.
But that's absolutely not. You just mute me so you can make a point. Like, I'm not even talking over you when you mute.
This time I did that. See, that's what that actually looks like. Since you can't tell the difference. And once again, not returning to a point, complaining about the call. Jesus fucking Christ. How would you know what the call is like if we're actually staying on point when you have yet to stay on point? I just lost a tip to my pencil. I keep pulling it out of like boredom or fidgeting, and it just fell into my crotch and now it's gone. All right, so, Gilberto, unmuted. Are you going to stay on topic? I doubt it.
Yeah, so you're muting me again. I'm not even talking. I don't even know. I was muted.
My God, quit with the Jesus fucking Christ. We don't care about how whiny you are. Yeah, I don't care how whiny you are. I'm just wanting an answer to my question. I tried to get to the actual conclusion that you want to meander your way to, and that's that apparently men are so snowflakey and whiny about educated women that they're leaving the left for the right because the right is going to pander to their false sense of superiority to women and everything. So essentially, are you calling in to complain about educated women and how they get paid more than maybe your dumbass or something? I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what the fuck you called in for.
Go ahead. I'm unmuting you now. You can respond to John.
Well, I mean, if I can't talk, then
all right,
how am I
bye,
supposed to
John.
express
Bye,
the
Gilberto.
position?
Gilberto, I'm gonna let John ask you one more time, and if you
You
do
don't have to
anything but
mute me.
address the
I'll-
question, you're gone. Go ahead, ask one more time, John.
So are you calling in to complain about women being educated and educated people being paid more than people who are less educated? And that is the reason why men are leaving the left side of the spectrum for the right side of the spectrum, because the right side is going to pander to their false sense of superiority.
And now you may respond. You're unmuted.
No, that's not my point.
Then what is?
Are you going to let me say it, though? Or are you
Nope,
just gonna...
I'm not, because I just asked you what it fucking is, Gilberto. I just asked, what is your fucking point? And for the next person who goes, Jimmy just talks and never lets the callers actually make their points, I'm going to point them to this fucking episode where I just spent 400 years begging the person to actually make the point. And this is that proof, because people, oh, well, if Jimmy actually listened to the point, time after time after time, please make your point. Please get back on topic. Please, please, please. I can't, because I'm a fucking garbage interlocutor. I don't know how to debate. I don't know how to make points. I don't even know what my values are, because I already bragged that somebody broke my fee-fees and that changed my opinion. Gilberto, here's the next question you have to answer. I'm unmuting you now. Are you sure you can have this topic? Maybe you're too hormonal.
No, I'm more than willing to have the conversation.
Are you?
Yeah. Definitely.
Okay, let's try to not get our emotions in the way this time, Gilberto. Try to not get your fifis out. What point do you actually want to make? Or someone's asking what the price is to move on. I will $100 of super chats, and I'll just crash this call. Go ahead, Gilberto.
Right. The irony, though, is that you're the one yelling and I'm the one being
Shut the fuck up, Gilberto, and just make your point.
Yep. Well, have a good one. Thank you.
Eat my ass. It's ass flavored. I can do it too. All right. He's trying to, I think he actually was kind of at the very end smarter than other people, because I did just offer, if people paid, I would crash his call. And he's like, well, I'm not going to let them make money off of that. And so now I'm going to need y'all to donate up to $100 of super chats just to prove that he didn't succeed. We're still going to get the money for getting rid of him. All right. By the way, Christians, theists, we would love to talk to you and actually talk to you about theism, because these people are calling in with their pet issues that they don't well understand. And we want to talk about why we should believe in God. And by the way, conservatism and anti-trans ideology and all these things that you guys are into, the fastest path to getting me there starts with converting me to theism, because these are Christian nationalist policies and talking points. And so unlike, yes, there have been atheists, really dumb ones that John and I used to interact with, who used to brag about how they are so moderate and agnostic and they would never fall and act like they could see Trump's grift, and are now blatantly, proudly MAGA. I'm talking about one specific idiot. I'm not going to name them. They'd be delighted, but I know John knows who I'm talking about. I'm pretty sure anyway. Who are now MAGA. Sure, there are atheists and agnostics who don't know what that word actually means, but claim that they're the authority on it, who have become Christian nationalists, but it's still Christian nationalism. And unfortunately, my intellectual honesty will prevent me from becoming a Christian nationalist before I become a Christian. So your fastest way to getting us onto your political side would be to get us to theism, because there isn't a good secular argument, including this argument that's going to be from Bill. Bill in California is calling in on the God shows, but he wants to describe that transgenderism is a fantasy. So first, Bill, before we get into that, welcome. You're on the line with Jimmy and John. Bill, how's
it going? This is Bill.
Hi, Bill. That sounds like a robot voice. I don't believe this is really you.
Okay, you can believe what you want. That's your opinion.
What is with your audio
and I
right
respect
now?
your opinion.
Why is your audio so messed up right now?
I'm talking to you through AirPods, so I'm not really sure what the issue is.
Yeah, I don't know either. These sound pretty whack. All right, Bill.
Do I sound robotic or crazy?
Yes. You sound like your voice is skipping even amongst your words. But Gilberto, let's go ahead and define some terms to make sure that we make this as good of a topic as possible. By the way, right now, for people who are watching, I already forgot the last caller's name, but he's winning because we have not gotten the $100 of super chats for losing his awful call. Let's go ahead and define some terms, Bill. I'm going to switch to typing on the keyboard because I've lost my pencil stylus here. So, Bill, first of all,
sounds great.
Define fantasy. What is a fantasy?
I don't think that it is a real thing. And essentially, what people have done is say, I want to identify as this, and they're forcing the rest of the world.
Bill, you totally misunderstand me. Sorry, I'm just going to correct you. Sorry for interrupting. Our last caller will be thrilled. I can't believe I've already forgotten his name. That's how little he means to me. Bill. Oh, it's Gilberto. Bill, I'm asking you to define just the word fantasy, not what you think the fantasy is. Just the word. What is a fantasy?
The faculty or activity of imagining things, especially things that are impossible or improbable.
Okay, the faculty or what was the second word? Of imagining things that are impossible or improbable. Okay, or activity of imagining things that are impossible or improbable.
And faculty is an inherent mental or physical power, just so you're aware.
Or okay, thank you. I wouldn't have known before that. Or impossible. Great. And then what does transgender, not your slanted version of it, what does transgender mean? Like just on its surface? Because right now we're just doing so that we can agree on terms as we move forward.
It's denoting or relating to a person whose gender identity does not correspond with the sex registered for them at birth.
Sure. Yeah. A person whose gender identity is not congruent with what they were identified as at birth. Sure. There's obviously some nuance in there. If a person were to be that same idiot, the agnostic I was referring to earlier, once very pedantically asked a trans person if I was mistakenly identified as a female as a typo error at birth, and then wanted to be, would I be considered transgender? Because that idiot is so dumb. And no, obviously there's some nuance in there. It would be like whatever the methods, assuming those methods have been adhered to routinely and no mistakes have happened. Basically, whatever method they use to identify you at birth, that is not congruent with your gender identity. Now, so fantasy is the faculty or activity of imagining things that are improbable or impossible. I'm curious, it says here you're a theist, right?
I lean more theist. I can't call myself an atheist because I do believe in a higher power, but would I classify myself as a Christian? Sometimes, maybe a little bit. That's how I grew up.
Do you believe that Jesus Christ was resurrected?
Yes.
Okay, but so you do believe that you believe an individual came down to earth in human form, died, and after 3 days came back from the dead.
I don't know if I believe that story.
Well, I asked if you believed he was
right.
But what part of that story don't? You said you do believe Jesus Christ was resurrected, right? And you don't mean resuscitated. You mean a person was dead, and through a divine miracle came back to life, correct? That would be the Christian claim.
That is the claim, and I don't fully agree with that. Like, what I want to make is especially clear here is, like, I don't follow Christian values every single day.
Sure. I'm not worried about the values. I'm worried about the truth claims. Yeah, I'm not worried about that. Let's just get to the truth claims. When you said you do agree that you do believe Jesus Christ was resurrected, what do you mean by that then?
Essentially, like a higher power brought him back to life.
Great.
His soul back into his body.
Put his soul back into his body. Okay, and then I just wanted to go ahead and get the definition of faculty one more time, or of fantasy one more time. The faculty or activity of imagining things that are improbable or impossible, right?
Yes.
I just want to make sure I wrote it down right. Okay, so like an example of that would be believing that an individual could come back to life, has a soul, and that soul could be restored after it's been removed from their body. This would be an example of one of your fantasies that you believe in, right? That would be accurate to say?
Sure.
Great. So you're not against people living and creating an identity around a fantasy they have. So what we're coming down to is whether or not being transgender is a fantasy, we can disagree on. But even if it is a fantasy, you are fully comfortable with a person committing their life to a fantasy because you're comfortable as counting yourself amongst the Christians who you've now admitted are living a fantasy.
Yes, I think there's nothing
Sweet.
inherently wrong with not liking or supporting the trans community. It's my prerogative to have those feelings, and I should not be forced to support something that goes against my personal belief.
Who's ever forced you to
Just
support
because I
anything?
respect, great example. I called this phone line, and they're asking me what my pronouns are. So
Sure.
that comes from
Oh,
the
no!
transgender community.
Wait, Bill. I asked who forced you, not who asked you for your pronouns. Who forced you?
Netflix is a great example.
How did
Every
Netflix
Pride
force you
Month
to
that
respect?
I
Excuse
load
me. Bill, will you please acknowledge to the audience, will you just say under penalty of perjury that I did not pay you to do this, that you are not a paid opposition call?
No, you did not pay me, but
Yeah.
okay. I turned my TV on. Netflix is fucking playing, right?
Okay.
What's one of the first shows that I could possibly see as an advertisement that I did
K-pop
not
Demon
choose, I
Hunters.
did not sign up for?
K-pop Demon Hunters. Yes, you
that
did.
could
Excuse
be-
me.
That
Excuse
could
me.
be one of them.
Excuse me, Bill. You just said that I did not choose or sign up for. Yes, you did. You signed up for Netflix, and Netflix is basically a library service, and a library containing something that you don't have to watch does not mean they have forced it on you. You also have the autonomy to turn it off. So I'm still waiting for the example. By the way, I don't concede, just in case somebody gets it mixed up, I don't concede that it is a fantasy to be trans. In fact, I think it is far from. However, the reason why we did that exercise at the beginning was, and you've acknowledged, you think it is a fantasy, but a fantasy is a fine thing to live your life on because you and other people do. So fine, we don't even need to because it's not an important part of your argument. So now your argument is that it is being forced on you because you were asked your pronouns, Bill. Did you try to decline giving your pronouns?
Initially, I did. And if I
And
can
what did the
clarify,
screener say?
okay, maybe the force,
What did the screener say?
she didn't really respond to it.
Interesting. So why did you give your pronouns? Because I can tell you, had you just said, I don't want to give my pronouns, they were going to just go, okay. And they wouldn't have put them in, or they would have put any or refused in my notes. You wouldn't have been forced in any way. So your problem isn't being forced. Your problem is people asking you in polite society to participate in something that other people do want to participate in, and not giving you anything more than a social consequence. I'll admit there are social consequences to being a dick, but when you say force, there's no police coming for you. I'm not coming. Bill, we don't even know who you really are, and you tried extra hard trying to VPN twice to make sure we don't, but we don't dox people here unless you end up with threatening to kill us. We're going to do nothing with your phone number. If you resort to slurs, we'll block it. But what is this? What is the point you're having that you, in America, in a free society, other people should be prevented from asking you to take your shoes off when you enter their house? Like, what is your complaint, Bill?
My complaint is that I don't want to be around these people at all whatsoever.
Then stay away from them.
And
they don't want to be around you, Bill. But that's on you. You don't get to say.
I know they don't. No,
you don't get to say that I live in a free society, and a free society to me is one where people are going out of their way to stay away from me. They're not going to come to your house and insist that you let them in their house on the basis of the fact that they don't believe that their gender lines up with what they were assigned at birth. Stay home. Go to play. If you see a trans person, walk the other way. Dude, the way trans people would love it if you transphobes would just walk the other way when you see them instead of the current problem of harassment, sexual assault, and murder. Like, Bill, they would consider you a different kind of ally. That would be like a way to be an ally as a transphobe. But maybe that would be too far. Well, I don't want to be any kind of ally. We do not talk enough about transphobic allyship. Isn't that right, Bill? Is that a bird in the background,
Yeah.
Bill?
No, it is my dog playing with a toy.
Oh, I got you. So, Bill, what is
Yeah.
the issue? You have the option to stay away from them. You're not going to go to prison. If you harass them, you might have civil you might be brought up on civil charges, but you kind of have to try hard to harass them at this point in any way America gives a shit, because it doesn't mean mispronouncing them in public. It means basically bullying them, going out of your way, especially if you work with them or they work for you, which they're not going to work for you. You and I both know that you'll come up with a reason that isn't explicitly that they're trans to say, oh, I just didn't think that person was qualified because of their hygiene. I don't know what bullshit you're going to make up, but we know you're not going to hire trans people. So what are you worried about?
Do you think that I should support them?
Yes. Oh, definitely.
And I have to like them as an individual?
No, have to? No, I don't like you, Bill, as an individual, but you're a human and I'm a humanist, right? I don't think you have to like it. By the way, there are trans people I don't like, but it's not on the basis of them being trans because I'm not a monster. It's on the basis of them being Blair White.
Okay, well,
I do.
What about the
got a question
aspect
for you.
where? Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, you seem to have a big problem with pronouns. You practically melted your little snowflake over Netflix just serving up like what's popular on the platform over pronouns. And so I'm just kind of curious, what if I just started referring to you as a little bitch? Like, would you take offense to that?
Would you call you a slur? I would call you a slur, but I will not do that.
Wow!
Because we're on air.
Damn!
Yeah.
You go slur?
Okay, wait,
You're
will you just tell us which letter the slur starts with? Just which letter?
Probably an F or a C.
Okay.
And if it's really bad,
a C?
we'll go to the N.
Wait. You proudly use the N-word. Bill, are you a white guy?
No, I'm not actually.
What race are you? This is a weird thing to ask on.
I'm Arabic. My family
Arabic?
is more. Yes.
I don't know whether Arabs have the pass, so I can't tell you whether or not. Call the next show. Jovan will tell you. The next show I'm doing is with a black guy. He can tell you whether or not. Sorry, what was that, Bill?
I'm more of a whitewashed Arabic, but that's where my family and my heritage stems from.
Sure.
Okay, so Bill, that's not even my
That's
point.
not what whitewash means.
Okay. It's not. But okay, Bill. So my point is, you'd be offended if I start like I came up to you and was like, oh, that little bitch over there, and you'd be offended if I started calling you a little bitch, right? Well, and then you would come up and be like, I'm sorry, I'm not a little bit. Hold on, I'm not a little bitch. I'm a man. You can use he, him, or whatever like that to refer to me. That's how you would refer to me, right? And I'm like, nope. You know what? You're a little bitch, Bill. And I'm just gonna start calling you little bitch Bill all the time. And whenever I refer to you to anybody, anywhere, I'm just gonna be like, I was talking to little bitch Bill the other day,
LBB,
and LBB, and he was saying all this sort of dumb shit and everything because he's fucking dumb. But if I started saying that, referring to you that way, you'd be pretty offended, right?
I think the first time that you said it, I would stand up for myself, and if it continued, I would just walk away because you have the right to the First Amendment. And
hey, real quick, Bill,
point,
what's your favorite food?
There's no use.
Bill, real quick, what's your favorite food?
Probably a good old-fashioned steak.
Okay, I just wanted to see if you're capable of answering the question that was actually asked of you, or if you would just go on like a kind of a similar question thing, because that's just what happened here. He just asked if you were offended. The answer is yes. By the way, you've already described your offense, as you did with the... Is it offensive for Netflix to put trans people in TV shows?
Yes, it is.
Great. So you are here to complain about...
kids are involved.
You are hoping that people are offended. Sorry, John, go ahead and finish your point, and then I want to follow up with the Netflix thing.
Well, I mean, I was just trying to put Bill here, little bitch Bill, in his, in somebody else's shoes of being, misgendered or not considering how to refer to somebody. And yeah, typically trans people would rather just ignore you and pretend you're not there and just, you know, go walk the other way or whatnot. But you know what ends up happening, Bill? Little bitch bills like you end up following them around, end up passing legislation that makes them like, you know, terrorists or something. And they end up persecuting them more and more, all because you're just a little offended by having to specify how someone should refer to you. That's a little bitch thing, don't you think?
Yes, but then that goes into another rabbit hole. Like, I should not be paying my tax dollars to support your fucking surgery.
At least we're clear that you're a little bitch.
Actually, you should be paying. Not only should you be paying for that, I should be paying for any surgeries that you actually need that are agreed upon by the medical community. Even if I go and sit and say, you know what, Bill, I don't value your life, so I don't think that your life-saving surgery, even if I think a person, if I think the world would be better without a person, both of our taxes. But the fact of the matter is, right now, our taxes don't pay for each other's surgeries. At best, they pay for subsidies to systems, but our healthcare system here is an absolute goddamn joke. But with the lots of things that taxes go, is there a paved road in front of your house, Bill, right now?
No.
There isn't?
No, there's not. It's sand.
Wow. All right. You put it there, or the government put it there?
Well, Earth put it here.
Okay, the road, not the ground, the road. Bill, do you have a car?
That is correct. The closest road to me is asphalt, and it is maybe like 30 feet away.
Okay, so when I said in front of your house, that would be the one 30 feet away. There is you know what, Bill? I don't like transphobes to be driving on comfortable asphalt. But in this case, my taxes are going to pay for your asphalt road because that's the world we live in, and a lot of things are going to happen the way. Now, Bill, how many kids do you have, Bill? How old are you first, actually?
I am 26 and no kids.
26 and no kids. But Netflix served you a trans kids show? Why did you open up the kids section of Netflix to be offended?
Well, no, that was what was popping up on the front page. Does that relate to me specifically? No. But I'm advocating for people of Netflix. I'm advocating for those that have the same opinion for me. My Netflix, other people's Netflix, they're getting canceled right now because they have this LGBT kids show tailored towards children. No, they're getting canceled because you and Elon Musk are far too sensitive. I'm going to open up Netflix real quick. All right.
Right now, I just did that. I've got the Edge of Tomorrow. I've got Monster, the Ed Gein story, Halo, Karate Kid Legends, Cowboys and Aliens. Sorry, you go ahead, Jimmy. What do you got?
I'll actually say to that point, I think that hang on, I'm not done. One of the ads for the Ed Gein story, I actually do think went too far, and I actually think Netflix should take action. I'm not gonna cancel it for it, but there is an image that is a cover photo for the Ed Gein story. It looks like they may have already taken it down. People may have already responded. It was entirely inappropriate on the title page of the photo to have a picture of what looked like Ed Gein wearing a human face as a mask. Like it was.
Oh no, I've got that one.
Oh, it is on your end. I actually think that is too far, and there are some standards because that is viscerally, that is going to be rough for a lot of people who have visceral issues, and it's more of as a courtesy thing. I'm not going to put them in prison or anything about it, and I'm also not going to cancel it because I don't sit there and go, my sensibilities are what matters. Because I also will tell you, I'm being served a number of reality shows that I don't want to watch. I'm seeing a number of, it turns out that in fact, I probably only am going to watch one in every 30 to 50 things that I'm seeing in a list, if that, or have watched. Because it turns out Netflix is a library and it's up to me to decide what I'm going to watch. And it's up to me to decide what my kids can watch. And if not, up to Netflix to curate a library to like, hey, Bill, he should not have access. We should not put this on because Bill doesn't want it, even though Jimmy may want it on there for his kids. By the way, I've just pulled up the kids thing, and none of these trans shows that I'm being told are right there at the forefront are there. But Miss Rachel is there, and I'm sure you guys have a problem with her.
I think it's Dead End
Paranormal Park. Sorry, what group do you think that I am a part of? Do you assume that I am conservative?
Right now, I'm going to go with
people.
Right now, I'm going with hypersensitive and emotional transphobes.
Not hypersensitive.
Hypersensitive. Are you kidding me?
Cool and collected.
Sir,
I have been pretty cool, calm, and collected.
I didn't say you weren't calm, cool, or collected. I said you're hypersensitive. You literally said...
If I'm hypersensitive, that's going to cause me to start freaking out and talking to you emotionally. I am talking to you specifically using facts.
Yeah, sure, Bill. So, Bill, let me give you the non-fact. I asked for an example of somebody forcing you to respect their stuff, and you said your screen... Well, I'll give you an example. Your screener asked me their pronouns. So I think a person who thinks that being asked in someone else's house what their pronouns are, because that's what we do in this house, equating that to I've been forced to tolerate and participate in trans culture, I would say that that represents hypersensitivity.
I just don't like them. I don't want to be surrounded by them. I don't want to go to the grocery store and see a
so you shouldn't do that.
Flag hanging up.
By the way,
here's the thing. I like gays.
Hang on, Bill.
Those guys are cool.
Bill. I do want you to acknowledge that you did just admit that I was correct about the hypersensitivity, because you're now going off on another point. And you're saying, yeah, okay, but I don't like them. And Bill, if you don't want to be next to trans people at the store, don't go to the store or walk away when you see a trans person.
Where am I going to get my groceries from?
I just gave you two options. Because the other option is genocide trans people, and I think you pretend to like to live in a free society, and we're not going to do that. Trans people still get to go to the store. We're not going to have a cis store and a trans store. We're not going to segregate. So I gave you two options. Don't go to the store. You can order. Now listen, I can't promise the delivery person won't be trans. They might wear a pronoun name tag, but you can order your groceries, or you can go to the store. And if you see a trans person and you are aware they're trans, because 90% of the trans people you've ever seen you weren't aware were trans, that's just how it works, and it makes you uncomfortable, walk away. Because I promise you, we're walking away, and I'm not even trans, but we're walking away from you people when you're in there with your, well, I don't know if you're a MAGA. We're walking away with people. Yeah, I just said, I don't actually know if you're MAGA. We're walking away from people with MAGA red hats. I'm in Texas. You basically, 1 in every 1.5 cars is a truck. And you better believe, even if I see a good parking spot, if it's right next to a big old MAGA with too many American flags stuck to it, I park somewhere else. Because I don't wear my political affiliation on my fucking truck, because I'm not in a cult. So Bill, people move when they're uncomfortable, but you don't force people to be out of an area in preparation because you don't like them.
I think you're making some good points.
I think I
definitely will.
Yeah.
No, not completely.
Great. What was the bad one I made?
I will stay away from them.
What was the bad one I made? What was the bad one?
You're saying that it's not pushed upon or forced upon general society in the United States, and I'll dig into it in California specifically.
Could you give me an example of where it is forced on? Pushed is a different term than forced. Whether or not, of course, protesting in general is a type of push. But the only trans ideology that exists is we are pushing to be able to exist peacefully in polite society. And that's a good thing to push, because that's how civil rights movements are born. But you said forced. You are going to, Bill, it's society. If you're going to continue to be a dick, especially amongst places that are progressive, you're in California, I don't know what part, but if you're in California, there are going to be social consequences to you being dicks, but nobody is going to be forcing you, in that the government is not going to arrest you for not accepting people and calling them by the pronouns they want or whatever else.
Okay, then I would like to change the main word to push.
Okay, civil rights movements should be pushed, and the trans movement is a civil rights movement.
Okay, Bill.
Like every time June comes around in 5 months.
Bill, would you consider it pushing? Would you consider it pushing? I guess the trans issue on you. I hate saying trans issue because I don't think they're an issue. Y'all are an issue.
Oh, they're an issue. I employ enough of them. What's with all the ADHD, guys?
I have pronouns in my email signature. Is that pushing it on you there, Bill?
Hypothetically, yeah.
Hypothetically,
I
how's
would
it
say so
hypothetically?
because
pushing
it
it on?
shows your support for that community, and I disagree with you. I would not put my pronouns in my fucking email. That's the most retarded thing.
Bill, that's not the question that was asked of you. By the way, you said that you're going to be polite. That's one of my words for the record. I'm allowed to use it and I'm not using it. You said you weren't going to resort to slurs because we're in a polite convo. So for the sake of our YouTube channel,
fucking.
No, you said the R word, buddy. Look, I would have loved to have said it about 19 times on this call as well. If we weren't on YouTube, I wouldn't have used it. So I'm just politely asking you. I use the word redacted for the sake of TOS. Just refrain from the R word.
Okay. I will apologize to you.
I don't need an apology. No. As long as you're saying
else.
you'll refrain from it, we'll continue on. Go on.
What was your last question?
He wasn't asking you whether or not you should put them in. He just asked if it was forcing it or pushing it on you if he decides to put them in his email.
He is pushing his support for that community.
Okay. Is Christianity... Oh, sorry, John, you were going. Yeah. Don't you do?
Well, I was just gonna how am I pushing anything on you? To just let you know what pronouns I prefer you use for me. Like, you prefer me not to call you a little bitch, obvious. Even though you're acting like a little bitch. But if we were in a respectful conversation, I wouldn't continue to refer to you as a little bitch. But obviously, you still want to be known that way. But I mean, how is me having pronouns in my email signature going to push something on you when it's literally not doing fucking anything to you, Bill? You're not the victim here.
That's so funny.
Bill, do you think you're the victim?
For you.
I don't want to know.
Are you going to answer the question, Bill? Bill, don't ruin the call. If you're about to resort to slurs or something, answer the question because I have questions for you. I'm not done with you, but then we do have another call, at least one other call. By the way, just a reminder, people who are watching, 720-619-2288, we're still looking for an excellent defense of Christianity. We haven't gotten anybody even trying yet today, but go ahead and Bill, go if you'll answer John's questions, please.
You have the bare minimum of my respect, so I will not use a slur. But what I will tell you is this is not a conversation. This is you talking at fucking people constantly. You don't give any longer than 2 seconds for someone to respond. So I hope that you both have a horrible day.
John, Bill, don't leave. I still have questions. Did Bill leave? Bill! Did he leave?
Oh, no.
It says he's still connected. Come on, Bill. Come back. Bill, come back.
Did it?
I think he got too offended by that last little bitch Bill thing. Bill, it still says you're on the line. Can you unmute? Come on, buddy. I think he's using a web caller. I don't think this was his real number from the first place.
Okay.
All right, Bill.
I'm sorry, Jimmy. I didn't mean to chase him off like that.
Yeah, I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at Bill. Bill's supposed to not be hypersensitive and leave over that kind of stuff. All right, there he's disconnected because he just realized he was using a web caller. I was going to ask Bill.
Me and my fucking emails.
You're in your emails. So Bill was saying that just putting it there because I have to fucking read it and he doesn't want to was his position. All right, I don't like Christianity. I think Christianity is ruining America. I think progressive Christianity is bad, also just not as bad as the rest of them. It's my favorite form of Christianity. I wish everyone was a progressive Christian. I would have very little job to do if everyone was who is currently Christian. I don't wish every atheist was. I would rather live in a country that was default progressive Christian. I guess I maybe do wish every atheist, if the cost of the whole country being progressive Christian was we lost all of the atheists, that all suddenly even Dillahunty was a progressive Christian, I think the humanist side of me would be like, that's probably still a better world to live in. But anyway, for humanism's sake. But I think Christianity is terrible. So if pronouns in an email that is only going to be in the interactions that John's going to have in emails are forcing it, is every cross that I have to look at Christianity forcing or pushing themselves on me? The answer is pushing. Yeah, it is. But I have to live with it. There are places where I do think it goes too far. In Denver at night, basically wherever you are, if you look at the mountains, one of the mountains was bought by a dude, too rich of a person, and they have put in lights a giant cross up on it. And I hate that because I feel like it actually ruins and I do think that something like that, where it's almost like your view of the mountains should be somewhat of a public commodity. I actually think that however we would fix the separation of church and state, that should be high up on there. I hated that in Denver because it's this thing where you're like, you want to take in the majesty of the mountains as the sun goes down, and you're like, oh, right, but don't forget about Christianity. You're like, shut the fuck up, bitch. We do like to forget about you every now and then. Let us forget about you occasionally. But yes, it is pushing. If why your church can't just be a building with the name on it, that it has to look a certain way, have certain iconography on it, is because it has a public face to it. And I just live with that because that's the country with separation of church and state. So should I say like, no, if you're going to wear a cross necklace, you shouldn't go to my grocery store? I should be able to go to the grocery store with no one with cross necklaces on, no cross earrings. I'm tired of watching so much porn with cross necklaces. I'm tired of it. There's so many crosses in my porn. That should be illegal. Stop pushing it on me. When I go to fuck flicks, I don't want to see any more crosses in porn. It's forcing itself on me. Tired of it.
I do want to point out how Bill very obviously was very upset by being not only misgendered, but also referred to in a way that he didn't prefer.
LBB.
And I really hate that for him.
Yeah, I feel bad for him.
Maybe, yeah.
Please super chat your favorite alternative name with the initials LBB for Bill. Little bigot Bill, somebody put. Give us them soups. All right, let's see. We're going to talk to Sasha, a theist. I'm so finally happy to talk to a theist about theism. It's Sasha, welcome. You are on the line with Jimmy and John. How are you?
I'm doing good, thank you.
Good. And how is Maryland this time of year?
It's not as cold as I'd like it to be. We're still closer to 80 than we are to 60, if you catch my drift.
Oh, I catch your drift. I'm in Austin. All I have is your drift right now. It sucks. It is an armpit down here, Sasha.
I hate that. I hate that for you, man.
Thank you. Sasha, could you give me an idea of which brand of theism, if you forgive the terminology, you come from?
From the way I understand it, I was raised non-denomination, then I left. And
non-denominational Christian?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. Is that where you consider yourself now, or what do you consider yourself now?
I've kind of jumped from being a humanist to being an atheist to just having a complicated relationship with religion. I don't think anyone has to or really should believe. It's something that I've sort of like kept close for like grief, because my religion came from my grandmother, and I recently lost her to cancer. So it's one of those things where it sort of keeps my sanity to just tell myself, you know, she's in heaven, even though that's probably not likely the case because heaven's not really a thing. So
okay.
I can explain why I hold on to them, but I can't really defend.
Oh, I can actually explain it to you myself if you like. I weirdly enough, I don't mean to sound condescending, but I know exactly why you're saying. Do you know what the stages of grief are?
I do know there are 5. I can't think of all of them offhand. I know depression is one.
Sure. I'll go in reverse order if you don't mind. It's for a reason. It's almost to be cheeky.
I'm cool.
Ends with acceptance. Before acceptance, you usually hit depression. Before that, you usually hit anger. Before that is bargaining, but you begin with, do you know what you start with?
Denial.
That's it. So that's why you do it. Now, the question is are we trying to, when it comes to dealing with the loss of a person or just dealing with grief in general, is it good to give us a system by which we don't progress to acceptance? Because acceptance is the last stage, wouldn't acceptance be sort of implicit that that's the goal, to heal and to accept and be able to live with that?
Yes, I would say it. I would say this.
So I would contend with you, Sasha, without even being contentious. I hate death. Okay. Death has ruined my life, and it's going to eventually ruin my life in a much more literal way. But I've lost people who I love very much. I'm going to lose people that I love. I have crises all the time over the fact that, like, just the idea of like, I'll just have intrusive wake ups where I just wake up and I'm like, what if my partner's dead right now? And then I go all down the rabbit hole of like living life without my partner or whatever. And it's just terribly depressing. Death sucks, but acceptance is clearly a part of a healthy psychological state if you go through something that is grief. And so it may be the case that you are holding on and actually re-exposing yourself to the internal trauma state of a person dying every time you just put up the heaven thing. Because it's not like you're not sad they still died, right? Even though you think they're up in heaven or whatever. It's just that you are putting off accepting that they've died. And the Sasha, you don't have to answer this. Would you tell me how old you are?
I'm 31, about to turn 32 in a couple of months.
So I'll tell you the number one thing that I think I see happens is putting off that state of death and denying it so much is something I did for a lot of my life too. And I feel like only in the last few years did I start to try and have a healthier experience with it, healthier relationship with the concept. I think that you being in denial about her death is going to actually lead, and anybody else's, and being your natural state with it, is going to lead to negative psychological consequences. As you are right now, a few years away, you may have already hit it, but on average, you're a few years away from the first time your brain is really going to understand you're going to die. And this is why we talk about midlife crises. Usually it's about the mid-30s when you start to be unconvinced that you're not past your halfway point on life already. And it hits you like a fucking ton of bricks. And it seems to me, and I believe that there is data to back this up, that your relationship with denial of other people's death is also going to mean you have an unhealthy relationship in accepting that you are going to die one day.
So I'm actually hurting myself more than I'm helping myself is what you're saying.
I believe that's probably the case. Even to people who say, I'm not trying to take it away from a person who's on their deathbed, because I don't think it's useful, but I think people will live a healthier and longer life. If you think about it, if you know atheists who have been able to cope and have a healthy relationship with it, then it doesn't have anything to do with whether or not God actually exists. So now it's a matter of why do you deserve to not be able to accept it, but they get it? Like, what is it about you that you shouldn't be extended the same ability? And I don't think there is anything. I think that you are as capable. I think that on average, people are as capable of figuring the stuff out and learning and not being so destroyed by the concept of death, except for literally, it will destroy us all one day.
Yes, I can appreciate that. I guess I've never had anyone like explain it to me in that way before.
Yeah, most people haven't. I also break with a lot of people, even on this channel. I think that some people in the atheist community can be somewhat glib about death. Be like, oh, I won't care that I'm dead. I'll be dead. Right? It's like, great. Now, oh, there goes all my anxiety about it. I think that's kind of a stupid approach to it. Or when I think a lot of them believe it's true, but I don't actually think I believe internally they are correct when they say something like, I'm not afraid of dying. It seems it's almost like, 4.5 billion years of evolution to be afraid of dying, but you thought your way out of it. I don't know if I buy that. I don't know. Anyway, maybe I'm being bad faith and I'm thinking that they're almost describing an indifference to the idea of dying, and they aren't. But to me, I see a glibness that you're not going to find from me.
No, it's okay, because I can admit that to some extent I am probably just trying to cope with like the unknown.
Yeah.
But maybe the downside is like we're overanalyzing it a bit, like thinking too hard about it.
And I want to live in reality. If you just think about it this way, the thing I was saying before, if to get over your grandmother's death, you need to pretend she's in heaven. what happens when your own death starts to bug you? And if you want to live in reality, you think you've already figured out that religion probably isn't true. You're just going to go back to living in something untrue once you start needing to comfort your own self about your death?
Well, thank you for that question. That is at least something. That's definitely at least something to sleep on tonight.
Yeah. Yeah. John, do you have any? I don't mean to. I say I don't mean it, yet I keep doing it, but I don't mean to monopolize the call.
No, I mean, I would say that I definitely do care about dying. I think that somebody in the chat made a big distinction. Like, there's a difference in caring about dying and preventing your death, and like what happens after we die, kind of thing. And it's like, I don't know what happens after we die, so I don't know how to feel about it. But it's like, I definitely am concerned about dying, and I do everything that I can to prevent, dying. And the whole aspect of dying, I feel like adds a monumental amount of meaning and value to my life now. Cause it's like, I know that eventually I don't think I'm immortal, obviously. So it's like, I know I'm going to die.
What?
So I only have, I know that, there's a limited time for me to do the things that I want to do. So like, I think that that's a big motivator to, get the most out of your life that you can. And I've always kind of considered using religion as a coping mechanism to just be sort of covering the problem, providing a facade of fixing the issue while the underlying issue is still there, ready to fester and like cause even deeper issues. So I generally tend to tell people that, it's better to actually deal with whatever issue you're having rather than sort of, give it a facade of it being fixed with religion. But I also try not to, shy people away from whatever works from them, if that makes sense. Like, if it seems to work for you, then that's fine. I find more value in actually addressing the issue rather than using religion to cover it.
My only contention with what John just says is I think people are poor at evaluating if something actually works for them. Feeling like it works for them, and if it actually works, like the example before, you can feel like it's working for you to justify being in denial, but it means you're never getting to acceptance. And so to that degree, whether or not it feels like it's working for you and whether it's working for you would be in contention with each other. Sasha, did we lose you?
Oh no, I'm still here. I guess you guys are so used to the callers interrupting. I'm really a good listener.
Yeah, it is weird. It is weird, but more I just have an aversion to dead air. Got to fill that silence.
Oh yeah, I'm still here. I just wanted you guys to say what you had to say without me trying to cut in, because if I wanted to go through the day with what I already know, then I wouldn't need to call in, right?
Yeah. Well, I do have 19 minutes on airline food if you want to hear that. And what's the deal? No, I'm just kidding. Sasha, did you have any other questions or points you'd like to vet? Is there any of your, because it's like you said, you came in as a still somewhat theist because you're not, are there other things that you're contending with? Other things that you're like, oh, it's hard to get over this thing? If so, we can run with that.
Honestly, I guess I'm just trying to shed the trauma aspect, because a lot of my relationship with theism does come from abuse. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
I came from, I was born in the 90s, so I kind of came from that era where, you got your ass whooped if you didn't get with the program. So I know a part of that is still like what reinforces me to not fully let go, like I know I need to. That, and just like being in a somewhat southern type area, like we're real close to Virginia, and I'm in a part of the trans community, so it's really all of it. It's like a cluster. I just say a cluster truck. I don't know if y'all cuss or not.
You can cuss.
It's a clusterfuck.
Yeah.
But I know, like, I'm a lot less theistic than I used to be since coming to terms with who I really am.
Yeah.
I will say that.
I gotcha. I got it. Yeah, those things can be tough too, because we also want to be able to maintain some sort of unity with those people we respected and love so much. And so, like, I have a grandmother who I loved entirely. She's probably the actual person. If I had a maternal figure, if there was a person who behaved as my mom, it was this one grandma. And yet I know she would have had some real rough feelings about me and my queerness and my working with trans people and my being social. I mean, she was addicted to Fox News by the end of it all, employing trans people, loving trans people, dating trans people. She would have not liked those things. And so it can be hard too, because it can feel like, well, the one thing that we really bonded over was our shared religion, and letting go of that is scary too. But in the end, you have to do what's best for you. And it's kind of like, I don't know. I feel like some version of this has appeared in a lot of things. I think I can remember it maybe from Game of Thrones, but the phrase goes somewhere along the lines of like, don't pity the dead, pity the living. Take care of you. The dead are dead. Right? They checked out. Right. They got off this fucking bus ride before fascism took back over. And I admire them in some ways.
That's a fair way to look. That's actually a fair way to look at it. Fun fact: she despised Trump, so that was her one redeeming quality.
Heck yeah! I don't know. I think my grandma wouldn't have liked him the first time around, but I don't know if she would have come around like other family members by the times after, because the Mormons didn't really like Trump first go around, and then they were like, "Oh wait, we can be advantageously hypocritical." Yeah. We forgot that's like our whole religious thing, advantageous hypocrisy. Let's just go with it. Anyway.
And you're John, correct?
This is Jimmy talking right now.
Oh, Jimmy. Oh, so that was Jimmy the whole time, right? Because like I was trying to keep up with who too.
John had some in there, but I've kept him quiet.
Okay, so you were because it sounds like maybe that's why you're able to like say it to me in this manner, because it sounds like you've been there, done that.
Oh yeah. I relate a lot to your story for sure.
And I appreciate that, especially like the queerness part. My grandmother, she was somewhere in the middle. She was not outright pro LGBT, but she did instill in us, we don't judge people for who they are and how they are. And like a lot of my journey into womanhood, I kind of have to attest to her, because like I would watch the way she does things.
Sure.
Like, she only had one granddaughter, so I think by association, I guess you could say I was like the surrogate granddaughter, so to speak. Like did the watching Lifetime with her and all the other stuff, and then it just started to mean something different. I did not get the chance to really tell her, because when cancer moves, it moves fast.
If you were watching Lifetime with her, some part of her knew that you were a girl.
Well, unfortunately, she did not get to see me show up with my nails done in her favorite color, lavender.
Oh, yeah.
But I do thank you, Jimmy. I do thank you, Jimmy.
Sure.
I thank you for your balanced perspective. I feel both the straightforwardness and the empathy as well.
Well, I appreciate you, Sasha. Thank you.
Is there anything else?
No.
Before I let you do your thing?
You're all good. You're all good. We'll let you go there. I think the only thing I almost said was like, do take some comfort in that even though she's not here, you are a 25% clone of her. You have 25% of her DNA. I think about this kind of stuff a lot. Even when I have like anxiety, I'm like, I wonder which one of those assholes gave to. I wonder which one of my grandparents experienced anxiety in this way. Because it's all humanity. We feel much more individual than we actually are. But anyway, in a way, she's 25% there, and that she is 25% of you. So I don't know if that helps, but take that with you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sasha.
Thank you.
All right. See you later, Sasha.
Bye.
See ya.
Also think about it sometimes when it's like, I wonder if my life had just been slightly different, what would have been different about me? But I have 4 brothers, and I'm like, well, that's what would have been different about me, because the actual differences in us genetically are so minute that it basically is just circumstantially. Like if I was my oldest brother, here's what I would be like if I was ugly. If I was my, fuck that guy. Anyway, we do have a little bit of time left. If there are any other theists who want to call in or want to take issue with some of the messages we just offered about why religion is actually bad as a coping mechanism, if you believe that people actually should rely on religion to answer the questions of what happens after death. In the meantime, we are going to talk to somebody who may have that very contention. We'll find out. We're talking to Matthew in California. A lot of Californians today. Matthew, how are you?
Good. How are you, sir?
Just fine. You are on the line with Jimmy and John. It says you're a theist from California. Are you a Christian? What kind of theist are you?
I guess I would say Christian.
Okay.
I recently started believing in Jesus within the last year.
And when you say believe in Jesus, what do you mean? You believe like in his philosophy, or you believe he was resurrected?
I guess I would say I believe more in his philosophy and the idea of pursuing and pushing love in this world.
Okay.
Because personally, from what I've seen, in the text that we see, Jesus, the way that he lived was full of love. And we could disagree or agree on the things that he did. I can't prove them or disprove them. And I honestly spent a lot of my life, and even now I don't really know if they're sure or not. But the things that I do know and I can't confirm is my existence, my consciousness, and the things around me that I can see and perceive. And so I took a lot of my life.
Hang on. Sorry. I'm confused. I want to get a clarification before we move to that thing prior. But you believe in his message. Do you also believe in his resurrection? Or are you saying you are an atheist Christian and that you don't actually believe in Christ as the mystical figure or any other God, but you do believe that his messaging is philosophically consistent?
I'm going to be honest. I'm not completely sure.
You believe it's possible he was resurrected?
Potentially. But I don't really concern myself with trying to figure that out.
Do you interact with Christian communities?
Yes, I have. And I mean, I've interacted with them in good ways. I've interacted with them in bad ways.
Sure.
I spent most of my life the atheist and heavily against it. And I would argue with almost all my friends about Christianity. And I would be the number one person to have that argument. I've listened to this podcast a lot.
When you interact with those Christian communities, are they understanding you to be a person who accepts the resurrection of Jesus Christ? Because to be a Christian is to believe like when you die, if you don't accept the resurrection of Christ, you won't be going to heaven. It's not just he had a nice message. It's a nice message, accept it and believe it or else. That's the longer version of it. So do you accept and believe the message, and do you, or at the very least, do you interact with your community under the supposition that it is true?
It's also recent that I haven't even been able to kind of come to that conclusion myself.
Okay.
I moved across the country by myself at 18 years old to get away from family issues and just my life. I had a lot of problems going on, but I figured out what's best for me and how to push forward and move through that. But at a really young age, I was questioning the meaning and purpose of life to the point where I didn't want to be here. And I started going to therapy at maybe 7 or 6 years old. And so even to this day, I still question that really heavily. And I still wonder and think about, what is my purpose? What am I doing here?
What conclusion have you drawn? Do you have one?
Part of it is that I've kind of come down to the conclusion of what is the meaning of, what is the initial meaning of life for, I guess, any animal, and that's survival. And we've come to a point in society where survival isn't completely necessary, and that we can provide and we have all these nice things and these, all these materialistic items. And especially in America, we're a very materialistic country. I personally heavily disagree on both stances currently on the political spectrum, as I feel both sides are saying the other is wrong. I personally feel that there's a lot more hatred on MAGA, and I really disagree with everything going on there.
What is the other side? When you say both sides, so you believe one side is MAGA and the other side is what?
Well, I mean, I'd say Republican and Democrat, because it's a two-party system in America.
Okay.
Not all Republicans, but a majority of them are standing with MAGA. But either way, I would still say that both sides aren't fighting for what's best for people. And
I'm just trying to, sorry that I like keep popping in. I'm trying to find where we're going to disagree. Because so far, I'm fine with people liking a Christ-like message. I don't think it's as straightforward, only positive as most people say it is or think it is. But
of course,
I think a progressive enough person can read it and make it work for a progressive thing. But you said you're not committing to any of the mystical beliefs. So I don't even know that you're not an atheist anymore because you don't have like an atheist is anyone who doesn't say, I do believe in God. If you can't positively say you do believe in God, then to my satisfaction, you are. I agree with your thing. The initial meaning, it kind of means something else, but survival is like what we're biologically wired to do. As far as a deeper meaning goes, it seems to me that that's self-selected, and that there are certain things that act upon it, our biological tendency toward empathy and community and those things. But each person can be different. I definitely agree that when you say both sides, we mean both sides in a local sense because there are more sides to it. I don't think the GOP or the Democrats are good people broadly. I think they suck.
Yeah.
So where are we going to disagree is what I want to know.
I'm honestly, I just randomly decided to call, but I just wanted to, I guess, discuss and talk about, I guess, I don't know. It's a very strange thing for me. I'm going through a lot in my life right now, and I just kind of saw the podcast and decided, fuck it, why not? I guess I say I would believe in God. It's helped me a lot in my life and pushing me towards being a better person. But I just would disagree with the stance, not like that you take, but that people take in general, and that Christianity is, if you don't believe in God, you're not going to heaven. And that that to me has always felt wrong.
Sure.
I feel like if there's a true God out there, and the same God that I believe in these ways,
Matthew,
they wouldn't judge people on that. Yes, sir.
Matthew, I feel, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but I feel what you've ended up doing is you've arbitrarily selected the attributes of Jesus that appeal to you already, and then you're just saying, oh, well, I like these attributes, so I believe in them, because you're ignoring a fair amount of things that Jesus said. Like, I mean, just on the aspect of like whether or not you'll get into heaven if you don't believe in Jesus. Like, you know what Jesus says about that?
I mean, he says that if you don't believe in Jesus, you won't be in heaven. But
right. So you're disagreeing with the guy that you seem to be basing your entire moral framework on, or your worldview on? Like, it just seems like you're
more of, I feel like people may possibly misinterpret what that message may mean. And to me, I think that we all have a consciousness and this ability to care and love for people. And I feel like that, in a sense, could be what people believe in. But I'm not really sure what I'm doing here. And I'm sorry for just kind of like ruining your time.
No, Matthew, you're fine.
No,
you're not ruining anything.
No, Matthew. No, yeah, you're fine. I was just saying, like, it seems to me like you've already got a certain set of things that you aspire to, like a certain worldview that, where you use that in order to come to these like conclusions about what you ought to do or whatever. And you found some parallels in the Jesus character of the Bible, and you've hand selected those few ones to reinforce it so that you feel better about choosing those things. In reality, you have to exclude a number of things that Jesus says in the Bible in order to adhere to that particular view of Jesus. And I feel like the way you get around, like, the only way to get to the Father is through me. You have to sorry, I don't.
Did it double feed the audio for a second?
For a second, yeah.
That was my fault.
No, that's fine. Sorry. I totally forgot where I was going with that. I feel like there's a number of things that you have to exclude from what Jesus supposedly said in order to adhere to your particular view of Jesus and your particular worldview. And just like with the whole, the only way to get to the Father is through me, or through Jesus rather. That's very straightforward. I'm not sure how you could really understand that in a different way in order to get into heaven, but it's very plain there that, you got to believe in Jesus and his resurrection and the salvation that he provides in order to be able to attain that everlasting life in after this life. So it seems like you got to ignore that. You also have to ignore what Jesus says about stuff in the Old Testament, being that not a jot or tittle is going to fade away until a new heaven and earth come. And so you have to adhere to the laws of Moses in Jesus's eyes, because Jesus was a Jew. And so there's just a number of things that you have to ignore about Jesus in order to adhere to your position.
I hope you keep ignoring them, by the way. For the record, keep ignoring those things if you're going to stay there.
I mean, I don't know. It's a very complex thing for me because I'm not sure what to believe in and what's right. And so believing in that has given me more of hope in that I can gain strength to do things on my own. And that's the reason why I believe in Jesus, is to give me the strength to do it on my own and support and help people
Matthew,
around me. But
if
that's
Jesus,
not, and that's my point, is that doesn't agree with the exact phrasing of Bible and all those things. And so I don't know. I'm just kind of asking for clarification in general. Honestly, just I'm not trying to argue with you.
No. We don't think you're arguing.
I don't know.
We think you're looking for clarification, and that makes sense. Matthew, if it's true that when you say I want shit, how did you just word it? It was, I want to be able to have that strength. That's why I believe, so I can get that strength. But if it's true that Christianity itself isn't true, isn't it you getting that strength? So wouldn't the thing to pursue be, okay, this untrue thing, I still got the strength, which means I didn't get it from the untrue thing. I got it from something else. So wouldn't it be better to explore what that is and seek it? Maybe I could put it this way. Do you feel like a sufficiently good person could read Lord of the Rings and get the same benefits, the same insight, the same ideas of oh, this is an example of what a good person looks like. This is an example of what a not so good person looks like. And that they could go through all of that and on the other side of it, be as good of a person, but then they did it reading something that was explicitly fiction, as opposed to needing to read something that the disagreement over whether or not it is fiction is somewhat destroying the world.
Yeah. I agree with that. The reason why I'm kind of asking these questions is for personal clarification, and
sure,
it's just a lot of confusion. Because I've used God and I've used that as a way to push myself forward, and I've gone through a tremendous amount of growth and change that I wasn't expecting in my own life.
Sure.
Since I've made that difference and since I've made that change, and I've become a much better person significantly overall. And my dad is not atheist, or he is atheist and doesn't believe in God, and my whole family is the same way. But he doesn't judge me for it, and I don't judge him differently for it. And it's not like I'm going to try and convince him to believe a certain thing. And so I struggle with this internal, battle in that because I've had these exact same questions and these exact same thoughts, and I could have had the strength, and someone can't exactly have that strength to go through it on their own. But does that mean that my thought process and patterns with the belief of God is wrong inherently? Is my question.
I think it in a way, yes, and in a way, no. It's kind of I get it when you're saying using it as a metaphor. I think that the contention comes in as take John's example, just John's example, basically that right now you have a thing that is helping you to cherry pick which parts of Jesus's words and Jesus's stories work for making you a better person. But that means something exists outside of Jesus that is helping you do that, right? Something is guiding it.
Yeah.
Go toward that. Because if
100%.
Jesus isn't the one telling you which part of Jesus's words you should accept and which ones you shouldn't, it's got to be something else. And it seems to me that that is going to be some sort of understanding of humanism, even if it's more innate and based on empathy. It's kind of like, yeah, you might be using it in a good way, but why use something that you have to cherry pick when there are alternatives?
Yeah, I understand that. And I appreciate your clarification. I don't know. It's just a lot going on.
I get it.
So, yeah.
Matthew, we love
Thank
a call like you.
calling,
You're very honest.
Thank you. I really appreciate you. And I'm
Okay.
just still trying to figure out my own shit. So, thank you.
Cool. Thank you, Matthew. Bye-bye.
Have a good one.
See you, Matthew. Yeah, I was sorry. I know I didn't get I didn't come in there at the end, but the point that I was making was that he was making these decisions, and he's already got that sort of worldview that is providing that value and everything. He doesn't necessarily need Jesus for that,
right?
And yeah. So I guess I could have been more explicit about that.
It's like when people say, and by the way, as we're finishing up this conversation, we have enough time for one more call. If you are a theist, if you're somebody who disagrees with us on something, we'd love to explore that disagreement. The next show after this show is going to be Calling It Now. I'll be popping over there, and I will be with Javon. There we are explicitly political. So if you're waiting to call in with a very political thing, that's definitely the place to go over and do it. But right now, we'd love to talk to somebody about their belief in God. Like I said, we only have enough time for one more caller, so please do get that call in right now, 720-619-2288. We only have enough time for one more. It should be you. Whoever it is going, should it be me? I kind of want to call. I don't know. It's you. Do it. Do it. Hopefully that makes 8 of them do it. Anyway, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, okay, a lot of people believe it's the Holy Ghost, for example. It's like, yeah, I am cherry picking, but the way I'm cherry picking is helping. And it's like, but the way I cherry pick, I believe is the Holy Ghost. And it's like, okay, but if it's not the Holy Ghost, what is it? And I submit that the harder you try to prove it is the Holy Ghost, the more you're going to find shit. It seems like it's not the Holy Ghost. It seems like the Holy Ghost was inside me the whole time, but literally because it didn't exist. It was actually me. I was the one Holy Ghosting up in here. It's just like, so just skip the believing and the mystical thing, that Holy Ghost, even though it's kind of a cool sounding thing. There's a fucking ghost. I don't know. It's neat, but skip that and go with whatever the actual like truth is. And especially avoid those things that to accept as a truth is to be like, I don't know. You could pick less rough things. As I said to the other caller, like if you're going to pick something that story-wise is so useful, maybe don't choose the thing where it's the debate over whether it is fiction or not is like destroying us, is destroying the planet. We had a caller just try to call in. The screener picked their call up and they immediately hung up. So if you were waiting to call and you wanted that last spot, that spot may be open if they don't call back. Call that number 720-619-2288. As we've said, we have enough room and time for one more caller, and we would love to talk to you about any of the topics upon which we probably disagree and find out whether or not we're missing something or if you're missing something. I'd love one more call to go. It is nice to have a call where everything happened, 2 calls in a row where everybody was good because everybody was honest, even though our beliefs didn't line up. Nobody was trying to do like so what your words are saying, what about that sentence you just said, that if I rearrange it as dishonestly as I can, so your position is, and then I'm just going to straw man your position back to you, or I'm going to try to get completely off. I enjoy the shows like this where it's like, if it's only those callers the whole show, it's easy to make the narrative of like, all they care about is talking over you and never letting you make a point, never da-da-da. And then we have callers who call in and just don't use the same douchebag tactics. And it's sort of like, yeah, and do you see how easy that was? Do you see how easily we had that conversation? It was so easy.
Yeah, and I have to say, I held back a lot when he was talking about, what Jesus said and did and everything like that. Because every time somebody says it's like, actually, Jesus didn't say shit.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that, my mythicist position should be inserted into every single conversation. But I do have to say that I do, like, whenever I hear that, my attention perks up and I'm like, wait, can this be about something that I'm really good at explaining? I don't know what that is about my brain, but I'm like, can I nope, it's something else. Okay, damn it.
There's a person on Threads at Kayla Bortic who wants to put up big inflammatory statements broadly to the public and not allow you to respond. So I'm screenshotting and calling it out like, oh, you were going to try and limit the extent of the conversation about your thread. I'm going to read it to you all here in a moment. Why did you make this impossible to respond or quote? And who is Charlie Kirk? That is my favorite new tactic. When people say Charlie Kirk in a thread, I just go, who? Could somebody explain to me who this is? And I'm waiting for someone to take it like I'm doing so in good faith and be like, Charlie Kirk. He was like the guy who, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I don't know. It sounds like some dead guy to me. But I haven't had the opportunity yet. Anyway, they wrote, if you thought Charlie Kirk was extreme far right, you won't like the rest of us. He was the nice guy. And now we have zero tolerance for your delusion. As though any of us believe you've changed. That now you have zero tolerance. And by the way, he wasn't the nice guy. He was the calculated because he's on camera guy. And I just love this. By the way, this could be the thing you would call in and debate us on for those people who are thinking they want to be that last call. We only have 15 minutes left though. So get your call in right now, 720-619-2288 if you want to be that last call of the show. Otherwise, maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll end the show early and move everybody over to the other show a little bit early. Yeah, Charlie Cuck. I've never heard of the guy. Sounds like some dead dude. Charlie Cork. Charlie, people are putting up different things. Anyway, the shit. I've loved. John, you grew up religious, right?
Yeah, I was Catholic.
And were you around a lot of Republicans? They're hard to find in Alabama, but
yeah.
Is anyone else totally annoyed at the utter gaslighting that is happening, where I think Republicans think we didn't grow up around them, that whatever they say they believe or believed, and that they say are their limits, and whether they're violent or what kinds of things they talk about, that we have no way of being aware that if anything is different than what they're putting on Twitter, like how would we know? Because it's not on Twitter, so it never happened. I'm like, bro, I grew up as a conservative Mormon. I know the violent ways you talk about it. I've been in church classes where we discussed like, well, wouldn't it be God's perfect law if, we did start, God was saying, put the queers to death. Like, we're not saying we like that. We're just saying, and that's like the nicest versions of it. The absolute utter hatred, the utter like, can't wait for somebody to take out Obama. The number of times I heard that fucking shit, the number of death fucking like fetishes they have over what could happen to Nancy Pelosi, what could happen to, back in the day, it was Harry Reid. Harry Reid is also Mormon, weirdly. Harry Reid being a Mormon was fucking weird. Like, it does seem incompatible.
I mean, I remember during Obama's presidency when they would like have an Obama like stuff thing that was lynched and set on fire. Right. That's what the crowd did. I think that was the Tea Party too, which turned into MAGA, or was MAGA like the pre organization to MAGA or whatever. But yeah, I mean, growing up in the South, like just constantly and everything was like, kind of tied to religion. I know that a lot of the racism and bigotry in my family was, not explicitly stated as being like tied to religion, but it ultimately all goes back to religion. I mean, when you think about it. So, I mean, yeah.
It's just wild and silly. I'm going to find out. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I don't know why they think that, we didn't grow up around them, and that, like the millennials and everybody we're just totally absent of all the rhetoric that they throw in our direction. Like when I was growing up, I had Republican or conservative friends who were so scared about just walking around a primarily like conservative town that they would wear like 3 handguns on them to go to fucking Walmart.
Right.
And
we've been at Thanksgiving with you guys. We know which of Hitler's policies you thought weren't so bad. We know what lines you think like, but okay, you know, that was wrong, but we should talk about how the Jews have blah, 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 blah. Okay, we've been there. We know what the shit you guys are saying, like what it was and what it is. It's crazy the gaslighting we're doing now where it's just like, and we'll just say they're the party of violence. You guys, I've sat with you. It was weird because I think for years you thought Law and Order SVU was being created to teach you how to cover your tracks. Like, oh, okay, well, look, when I do it, don't be dumping them in the bushes, okay? That's the kind of vibes you guys give off, which I know is weird to call out since also it seems like, I don't want to sound sexist, but here we go. Women, you are watching too much true crime, and I think it's because you're plotting, okay? I think you got notebooks. I think you got a Pepe Sylvia board with red strings out there. And I'm very uncomfortable because people always want to point out that men murder a lot more than women. A lot more, right? Isn't it like 94% to 6%? Is it possible it's actually the other way, but they've watched so much true crime they've gotten away with it? I'm just saying you watch a lot of true crime. I feel like you're not laughing, which makes me think people are going to think I'm serious. I'm devastated it wasn't funny, but I'm more worried that now the message going out will be like, oh, Jimmy actually thinks. I think women actually commit 90% of the crime and they watch so much murders and they watch so much true crime, they've been able to pin them all on men. That's my absolute belief. And I will put my hand on a Bible, which you know I take very seriously and testify to it. That's how I believe.
I mean, you know, what else are they doing with those education degrees?
By the way, any woman who acts super like angry about what a sexist the thing I just said and was like, this is bullshit, he shouldn't be making that joke, they committed a murder and they are trying to get the attention off of me, off of them to me about how sexist I mean, because they are covering up a murder. Okay. Now, if you would like to see more sexism, let's head on over. Let's head on over to Calling It Now. I'm going to go ahead and release y'all here and we're going to get the other show started, maybe even a couple of minutes early. But the redirect should be set up. So going over to our other channel, Jimmy Snow plus The Line is where you will find it. Thank you so much, Godless Engineer. That is John Gleason next to me right now for, oh my God, my shortcut didn't work. Okay. We'll try it this way for coming with me here today. That is to say, being present with me here today. You guys don't know what hobbies we have. I'm just saying, our audience is gross and just blanketly thank you for coming with me. I know how it is. By the way, to Thomas from Patreon, I don't think your name is that long. I think you like that it doesn't fit horizontally. And I think it's all been a scam this whole time. Thank you all so much for watching. We will see you over on Calling It Now in just a moment. Wow, that button doesn't work either. Great. My buttons don't work. Fucking crap.